Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time on a Wednesday. Bryant and Brett with you for the next 3 hours. A lot to get to. Kind of a busy news day. I didn't really, when I woke up this morning, Brett, I didn't expect today to be this newsy and breaking news, but it's 3 o'clock and we have a ton of breaking news across sports, not even just the NBA with Dame Lillard finally getting traded, but also we have Mikey Williams update. We have some NFL news. We have some college football news. We have a lot of news to get to today, but like I said, Bryant and Brett with you. Johnny Hill is sitting in here behind me, starting to train. He will be with us going forward, so we're very excited to have Johnny with us.
Welcome aboard, Johnny.
Yeah, welcome, Johnny. We're glad to have you. But it's a busy day, a lot to get to. But Brett, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing well, and you're right. Newsy, you don't ever know when breaking news is going to break, and It's broken all over the place, near and far, locally for the Mikey Williams story. And I think there's a lot of layers to that. I don't know how much better Coach Hardaway could have possibly handled this. He was in a tough spot. He was in a tough optic spot. The university was in a tough legal spot. Not necessarily him. Of course, Mikey Williams in a much tougher legal spot. And I don't know how that case is going to play out. I did not stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, and I did not watch L.A. Law in the 80s. But I did read some John Grisham books, but that doesn't make me a legal expert. And I do too. And it does not make me a legal expert by any means, though. But I'm thinking by this point, this is just pure raw speculation on my part. By this point, if the Williams legal team, with all the times the can's been kicked legally, if they kind of hadn't gotten this drawn down a little bit, they're probably not going to. It looks like that. It feels like that local DA, prosecutor, whatever realm it's in. Looks like he wants to go. He or she wants to go forward with the case, and the allegations are very serious. I am a believer in. I think almost all the time our legal system, it works, and I often say, Bryant, this is why the legal system exists. Well, this is a case. It's going to play out one way or the other. Around sports, though, I know it would derail a lot of players' careers, maybe their lives, but I think in almost every case, until there's kind of a final judgment rendered, maybe everybody needs to sit. Last year at Alabama basketball, until it's completely adjudicated, you might need to sit, because that's tantamount to what is going to happen with and to Mikey Williams.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I heard Dave Woloshin this morning. The news kind of dropped right before the start of his show, and so he opened with it and talked a lot about it, and I loved what he said. And you kind of just said the same thing of, at the end of the day, these are kids. I mean, this is Mikey Williams, an 18-year-old kid who has earned a basketball scholarship to the University of Memphis, and at the end of the day, the trial hasn't happened. It hasn't been found guilty or innocent, and so for Penny Hardaway, I mean, I think you have to back your guys. I think if you go in and you build these relationships with players, with recruits, I mean, I think you have to kind of stand by them, but also for a guy like Mikey Williams, who has an opportunity to further his education while playing basketball, I think you have to, do as much as you can for him, and then obviously things can change if he's found guilty down the road, but for him as a student,
we go from there with it.
Exactly. And so, but for him as a student, as a person, I mean, I think a lot of this, and this is what Dave's main point was, is we get kind of too far away from this being a human being and this being a person and kind of what they're going through and what's happening with them. And so, I am glad to hear that news that came out today, that he's taking online classes. He's still away from the team. He's not going to have access to the facilities or anything until there's a little more clarity on his case. But
and that's the university, kind of protecting themselves.
Absolutely. And so
because if in an extreme circumstance, you're right. I won't say kid, I will say a youngster, but by the legal standard, he is an adult, and the charges are very much of an adult nature. He's still innocent until proven guilty, though, and very much deserves his days, and he's getting them with the plea and with the can kicking. He's getting his days in court. But you're so right about, and we're guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. This forum is guilty of it. We do depersonalize people. I mean, we do turn them in to almost an inanimate object. Some badly want it. I mean, right now, it's all fun and games with whatever's going on with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
There you go.
It took a second for it to come to my mind.
Half is right.
And they're paying. She's certainly paying PR Flax a lot of money, to be out there. But then you get kind of the not so fun side of it when it's not fun in games. It's not funsies, and I bring it back to these college basketball players and college football players and people out there in the public eye. Sometimes it's more than what you sign up for.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It is a lot of the time. So, I'm glad we have this update. Obviously, like you mentioned, still kind of a lot of time until we really have clarity on this situation because, we still need to have these trials, these dates. We need to know if this is going to get pushed back again. It's been pushed back already several times, and so
I would be very surprised if he ever plays a game for the University of Memphis.
I would too. But
I hope I'm pleasantly surprised. I hope the charges are reduced. It was more of a benign nature. Sure doesn't sound like it, but it's got to play out.
Yeah.
And everything ends happily ever after, but it doesn't feel like it. Who needs PR Flax when the NBA has Woj, though?
Yeah, I mean, what a Woj bomb. I mean, what we've been waiting for. I feel like
right through the press release machinery of the Woj bomb.
Brett, I feel so bad every single week when we talk to Keith Smith because there's so much going on in basketball. There's so many things that I know Keith wants to talk about.
It's captivated us, though.
Yeah, but I mean, it just feels like every week we're like, all right, Keith, what's up with Dame?
Time.
What's going on? Where's he gonna go? And so
I'm checking my watch.
Yeah,
I'm doing my
Dame time. So I'm glad we kind of have some clarity on this. But
first blush for me, I don't know that Phoenix got better. Portland really wasn't in and I'm looking through all this through the Grizzlies prism. Portland, I don't think is any factor for anything the Grizzlies want this year. I don't know that Phoenix got better, and I do know this. We got him out of the West.
Isn't that a glorious thing, Brad? I mean, we talk about all these superstars in the West. Let's push them over to the East until in a couple of seasons when we get expansion teams and they move the Grizzlies back to the East. Then we want them all back in the West.
So I got my Grizzlies schedule out. Milwaukee Bucks, they come to town for the only time this year. Well, I just lost. Only time this year, the day after Thanksgiving, February 15th.
All right.
Already scheduled to be on TNT. The Grizzlies go to Milwaukee for the only time this year, Wednesday, April 3rd, already scheduled on ESPN.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, we don't even need to adjust schedules or anything. They've already got those primetime games circled. So, no, but I mean, looking at this trade, obviously – if you're a Bucks fan, you're very excited to get a guy like Damian Lillard. We've heard players, we've heard media, we've heard even people in that front office saying we've got to build something around this team we have with Giannis, and kind of while we've got Giannis, we need to build a team that could be a dynasty in the NBA, and so adding Damian Lillard certainly helps that. But for the Blazers, I don't know if I really understand this trade much.
I don't know that I do either. I thought they would get more than this on the eve of the season, but they didn't want to gamble with getting into the season and the risk of injury and running it up to All-Star break. That's when you really get kind of teams over the barrel is around All-Star and trade deadline. They didn't want to risk that.
No.
Phoenix, and no surprise because he's kind of been at odds with coach and a lot of front office people in Phoenix, DeAndre Ayton out.
Yeah, and for the Blazers, I mean, I would not be surprised at all if they dumped one of these guys in Drew Holiday and DeAndre Ayton. I mean, obviously, I think with Ayton, you still have a lot of upside, and Drew Holiday is a fantastic player. But with the Blazers, they want to go young. They're kind of shifting that. We've talked to Keith a lot about it. They're tearing down, kind of getting ready for that rebuild, getting those pieces in place. So, to me, this feels like for the Blazers, they really wanted to make a deal with Miami and make Damian Lillard happy, get him to Miami. But then while meeting with Miami, they said, well, we really need this, we really need this, we really need this. And Miami was saying, who else is giving you offers? We're the only people you're engaged with. We're not going to meet your high demands when it doesn't seem like there's any other suitors out there. And it really feels like this close to the season, with camps opening next week, it seems like they almost maybe panicked a little bit and just kind of took one of the first trades they got, because I just don't see with these players the Blazers are getting back. I understand a first-round pick, but that's not until 2029. I mean, Brett, that seems like, especially in NBA years, that is such a far time away from now.
I'm not buying green bananas for 2029.
No, I mean, that is such a long time away from now. So I just don't really understand this from the Blazers.
It doesn't even sound real.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it sounds like it could be 31-26.
But it is just 6 years.
It is. But 6
years
in the
ago
NBA,
was 2017. Yeah.
I mean, but I just don't know. And I mean, I have a buddy who's a Milwaukee Bucks fan, and so I mean, he's calling me, "Oh, Brian, we got Damian Lillard. It's Dame time. It's Dame time." I'm like, "All right, good for you, but I don't know about this trade on the other end. I mean, you got the good end of it."
Here's one that's frightening on how long away it is. Probably the 2029 number one pick in the draft will either be 19 or 20, right?
Yeah.
It means he's 13 or 14 right now.
Oh, man. And Scoot Henderson, who's I'm guessing going to be your franchise piece in Portland.
Will be 25.
I mean, he'll be getting ready for his 6th, 7th year in the NBA.
Right.
I mean, it's such a long time away from now, so it's baffling. But I'm glad it's over. I'm glad we can put this in the rearview mirror.
The Grizzlies go to Portland for the 2 games against Portland very early in the season, games 6 and 7.
And that's the immediate
of the season.
Back, right? Yeah.
That's the kind of the baseball version that the NBA started doing last year. They play on a Friday night, November 3rd, and then on Sunday afternoon, November 5th, and then don't see Portland again until March, and do the same thing with them at FedEx Forum, game 60 and 61, Friday night against Portland and Saturday night against Portland. Portland could look very different roster composition in March than it does when the Grizzlies play them in November, because they're not through dealing.
No, they're not through dealing. It seems like
they don't mind winning 20 games next year.
No. I mean, especially if you could, if you could put Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe, who I love watching play, with another young, maybe top pick in this year's draft. I mean, I'm sure they'd be all for that. But, also for the Suns, I mean, they get Yusuf Nurkic, Nasir Little, Keon Johnson, a young guy that I kind of like in Keon Johnson.
I do too.
And our old buddy Grayson Allen going to Phoenix.
Our old buddy Grayson Allen, who's rapidly racking up, having played for everyone.
Yeah. What's the? I'm already forgetting. What's the immaculate grid? I mean, Grayson Allen's about
6
to be,
or 7 makes it for everybody.
Yep. So I mean, he's getting there. He's getting very close.
I mean, he's not the Edwin Jackson of immaculate baseball grid.
No, but he's getting close. I mean, he's
starting
to pile up for a lot of teams.
And our old buddy, and every town he goes to, people have a better appreciation for him than when he arrived.
Okay. Oh, Grayson Allen. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I thought you were going to say somebody else. Absolutely.
No, you like him a little more in departing than you did in arriving.
Absolutely, because nobody wants him when they get him, but then they kind of like.
I'm calling it in retirement. Grayson Allen, it will be J.J. Redick times 10.
I could see
that. Hot takery podcasts.
I was about to say that Grayson Allen doesn't talk as much as J.J. Redick did when he was a player, but I don't really remember J.J. Redick being super outspoken as a player.
We didn't hear Redick that much. I mean, now I'm sure in those markets that he played in, you would have more familiarity, and we do that now. We kind of presumably with Grayson Allen.
Absolutely.
But every time I think I like J.J. Redick, then he has that the other day, and then he rolls out the apology.
Oh, Brett, did you accept his apology, though? I mean, that's the big question.
I will accept almost anyone's apology because people have been kind enough to me in my life to accept mine. Often
Very big of you, Brett.
When mine may have not been completely on the sincere side and often pushed by somebody else to go do it, people were kind enough to accept mine. So they've been good at it, and I do, and I don't think he had to apologize though.
No.
I mean, And Evan Turner, I mean, who cares? When was the last time we really gave a whip
Brett,
about what Evan Turner had to say?
I loved Evan Turner as a player. I don't know much about him off the court. If he has a podcast, go listen to his or don't listen to his podcast, I guess, after the mean things he said to the Grizzlies. But I mean, it seemed like it was more Evan Turner. Also, you
have to have a take.
Exactly, and if you're going to be in the business like J.J. Redick is of having these big takes, you got to stand by him. I mean, that's one you got to stand by him. We can't be rolling out apologies.
Down?
That's a good question.
Did the league / broadcast networks?
I mean, you'd think it was somebody
/ friends around the league. What backed him down?
That's a good question, because I mean, he said a lot of things in the past that could anger fan bases, and I haven't seen any apologies before this one. So it's a good question. I don't know.
But I think I still do mostly like his analysis.
Yeah, no, he's really good. He's really, really good. And now, I mean, but everyone has a podcast now, and so it does not shock me.
And maybe Grayson Allen and J.J. Redick, and I mean certainly in the sports sense, and the two most hated college basketball players since Christian Laettner.
And they're both certainly up there. And Grayson
Allen. They all three have one thing in common: DUKE.
Yeah, that Duke brotherhood. Don't forget about the brotherhood, Brett.
It's
strong.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah. Always reel me in. Don't ever let me forget about that fabled Duke brotherhood.
It's strong.
Especially for those guys that stay there about 6 months.
Exactly. The one and dones. But they're that brotherhood. It's strong, and it runs through and through.
Kyrie Irving, man, just nothing like his 20 weeks on campus at Duke, was it?
Him and Coach K now. I mean, you always see him and Coach K together. I mean, he'll go to Duke games. Coach K will go to his games, and it's really beautiful. That brotherhood, it's very beautiful.
Grant Hill, he paid the price for the brotherhood.
Sure did.
Cherokee Parks. Trajan Langdon, they did. I mean, these 6 months, guys, come on.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But let me start today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. At 3:30, Olin Buchanan from TexAgs.com. He's going to join us to talk about the Texas A&M Aggies and their game this weekend against Arkansas. Big news this morning coming out.
That's part of the newsy part today.
Part of the newsy part that we'll have to get to. Connor Wegman is out for the season for Texas A&M, which is definitely a huge blow for them. So we'll have to get all of Olin's thoughts on that and this game coming up this weekend, which should be a very, very fun game to watch. 3:45, we'll get into some baseball talk. Brett, the Mariners are back. I never doubted them for a second. I never thought that this was the end. They're back. They looked great last night. Just got to, next one in front of you. You just got to keep on winning one game at a time. It's that next up mentality in Seattle. They looked great last night. That was where you beamed last night. It was awesome.
Very good chance I may beam there tonight and really tax the beaming machine and try to get to a couple other places tonight, because it's a lot of must wins. Yep. Help me with this. There's an odd number of games left remaining for the Mariners. Do they have a one-off from back in the summer to make up potentially on Monday if necessary?
They might.
I don't want to send you on a wild chase.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I couldn't find it today. I went on the wild chase and couldn't find it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know the team's in front of them. You got the Astros tonight, and then you finish off with the Rangers. So it's going to be a lot of fun in that AL West.
But this is why when I refer to the all-important loss
absolutely.
Column, if it matters, the Mariners are playing 162.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. 100%.
If it doesn't matter, they're eliminated, and often that's the case, 160. Mm-hmm. I've seen teams play 159.
Yeah. So I know this AL West
is
just
a lot
of fun.
Making up.
Right. This AL West is a ton of fun. So we'll get to a lot of baseball at 3:45. 4 o'clock, David Cohn, the co-host of Crane and Company, will join us. We'll talk a lot of college football with him at 4 o'clock. 4:30, we'll have to look over this NFL and college football slate, some of these lines for over the weekend, just a couple of days away from college football back for the week. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, John Gowen from Timber Trust Golf will join us. It's been a couple weeks since we talked to John, but the Ryder Cup starting this weekend on Friday in the wee hours of the morning, so we'll have to talk a lot of Ryder Cup with John at 5 o'clock. 5:30, we'll get into what's trending, and at 5:45, We'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. We're sitting in our Family Leisure studios where family and fun come together. The world's biggest spa sale, it's back and bigger than ever. 50 different models to choose from, 5 different manufacturers, up to 30% off in-stock spas and swim spas, and free upgrades on all in-stock spas. And the 24-month same-as cash, it's still available, but only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
He's Brian. I'm Brett. Johnny Hill with us on Sports Time. We're with you until 6 o'clock, 901-360-8255. If you'd like to be a part of our show, and as Bryant said, we're always in our Family Leisure studios, and we're always brought to you this hour every day by the one and only Lexus dealership in town. That's Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-334-9673. Great offers on all 2023 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2023 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day is the big trade in the NBA. Damian Lillard finally has a new team, but not the Miami Heat. For a while, we thought it was going to be the Heat. He clearly wanted to be in South Beach, and it seemed like everything indicating that he was going to go anywhere was indicating that he was going to go to Miami, but that's not the case. He will be a Buck. He will join Giannis in their attempt to win another championship. And on the other side, for the Blazers, I just don't really understand this move for them. I mean, I said it earlier. It seems to me like they were really in discussions with the Miami Heat. The Heat would offer them something, and they say, this isn't enough, we need more, but we want to make a deal with you, so just, counter this. Offer us more, and you'll be able to get Damian Lillard. And over time, Pat Riley just seemed to say, you know what, we're not going to meet all of your demands. I mean, it's very clear he doesn't want to play for you. Y'all don't want him around anymore. Y'all are going to get rid of him. And it doesn't seem like many other teams are offering. Well, it seems like after that happened, those discussions died. And earlier this week, late last week, we started hearing the reports the Raptors were now in the mix. The Bucks were now in the mix. There were more teams coming about, and I think that happened right after Miami said, we're done. We're not going to give you our entire roster just for Damian Lillard. And so on the other side, for the Blazers, to me, it really seems like they panic. It seemed like they said, we got to get rid of him before we start preseason, before we get asked all of these questions about his future, about our future. And so what they got in return, a couple of players that I wouldn't be surprised they might dump their salaries and start over, and then a 2029 pick. Doesn't make much sense to me. Maybe we'll get more and more out of it. Maybe they really like these pieces, but I think this is an absolute win for the Bucks, not so much for the Blazers.
My top story, you mentioned it's Ryder Cup week. We'll talk it at 5 with John Goen, and make no mistake about it, I'm for the United States. Come early Sunday morning at the Marco Simone Club in Italy. No doubt about it, I'm for the United States. But this week is almost the week that we go USA, USA, and we're supposed to sports hate the other team.
That's right.
All these international sports events, from soccer to the Olympics to FIBA, I think they play on faux tribalism that's a little off-putting to me. I'm speaking for myself, and I'm going to say it. I'm for the United States. Again, make no mistake about it. But the European team, and it's not even a country, it's a continent that we're supposed to hate a whole continent this week. Those are guys all summer and in Memphis that I like Rory McIlroy and Victor Hovland and Matt Fitzpatrick. I don't really know of Mr. Meany on those teams like Colin Montgomery from back in the past or some others. I mean, most people don't even know who Robert McIntyre or Ludwig Aberg even are.
Sepp Straka,
I'm supposed to hate them this week?
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you're an American. You have to hate.
Okay, well, that's the faux part.
That's right.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day is the release we got from the University of Memphis earlier this morning regarding Mikey Williams. This is what it had to say. While Mikey Williams is enrolled in online classes at the University of Memphis and remains on the roster, he will not have access to team-related facilities or activities until his pending legal process in California is complete. The process is assess and determine his status with the team will be evaluated at that time. So, I don't think this was to put out the news that Mikey Williams is in classes and enrolled and taking online classes at Memphis, but that's what it did. I mean, that's what a lot of people took from this. This really was the University of Memphis trying to cover all of their grounds, and practice just started yesterday, and them saying, look, we understand this process is still going on. He is not with the team, even though he's on the roster and in class. They're doing everything they can. But for a lot of Tiger fans that want Mikey Williams to be a part of this team and on this roster, I think this gives them a little bit of a glimmer of hope, because up until this point, there were thoughts maybe he's enrolled in online classes, maybe he's there, but we didn't know for sure. Now we know, absolutely, he's enrolled in online classes.
My not top story, Brewers clinch NL Central last night. It's time for them to really make noise in the postseason. Craig Counsell's team, they haven't. They won the NLDS over Colorado in 2018, lost in the NLCS in a heartbreaker in 7 to the Dodgers, but they don't make a lot of noise in the postseason. Been in first most of this year. It was their division to take. They took it. They will play the 6th seed. That could be Arizona. That could be the Cubs. That could be Miami. And last night, the Cubs with an epic Cubsian moment.
Oh, man.
It ranks up there with the all-timers with the Cubsian moments. Maybe not move aside Bartman. Maybe not move aside getting through Leon Durham in '84 in the NLCS against the Padres. But that was very Cubsy.
Yeah, that was rough to watch, even for a guy that does not like the Cubs at all. That was tough to watch. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's get to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Olin Buchanan from TexAgs.com. But first, here's a traffic update.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. We can still see slow-go traffic on I-40 west of Memphis. Out there in Arkansas, around the Midway area. Again, that's a little ways west of West Memphis. This afternoon on the interstate, it's slow both east and westbound because of an accident there in Midway. Traffic still looks pretty good right now. On 240 as you get on to 385. A little bit of volume from time to time in the construction zone over here on 55 northbound up by South Parkway. Hey, bring the whole family this weekend. Smoky Mountain Fall Festival at Oberg-Gatlinburg. Check out the details at obergatlinburg.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing. This family business started up 5 years ago with just one pallet, and now they have hundreds. Tim, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood flooring, carpet, tile, and vinyl. Jenkins Floors and More helps with renovations, home building, and installation. Jenkins Floors and More, number 6 East Commerce Street in Hernando. Also in Little Rock and coming soon to Tennessee. Call 662-469-9350 for more information.
I feel good shopping at DriveMax. DriveMax, you get value.
Need a car that screams I feel good? DriveMax has it all. From cars to SUVs, find a tightly inspected used car that'll have you dancing all the way home. Call 901-664-2424 or visit DriveMaxApproval.com.
DriveMax, I got approved.
My friends at Miramichi are always innovative. They've got a new thing going I think you're going to like. They have a staggered rate pertaining to what time of day it is. You can get a better price if you go in the later afternoon than you will in the morning or in the afternoon. From noon to 3, there is a $10 savings. There's about a $13 savings from 3 until close. You can't beat all of the innovations or the beauty at Miramichi. And folks are flocking. No longer can you get a membership. There's a waiting list, but that's how popular Miramichi has become. And why wouldn't it? You've got different levels of competition. You have 5 different tee boxes you can choose from ultra hard to ultra fun. The thing that's a constant is the beauty. The back 9 is like taking a walk through the woods with a meandering stream, and there's a waterfall you'll love. Everything about Miramichi is cool. Go check it out in Woodstock, 12 minutes north of downtown. It's Miramichi.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
All 36 months, 650 acquisition fee, Forte LSX, PE 678605, MSRP 21610, Nero P5078859, MSRP 41090, EV6 P5610964, MSRP 49687, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/2/2023 with approved credit. Dealer.com.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah is about to blow my socks off.
That's right, Randy. Get 41 MPG Highway with the 2023 Kia Forte LXS, $229 a month, $29.99 do-it signing.
What about those cool new EVs?
I've got EV action with a 2023 Nero EV Win SUV, 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $269 a month, $49.99 do-it signing. And a 2023 Kia EV6 Win, 134 city, 101 highway MPGE, $399 a month, $49.99 do-it signing. Plus, you'll get a free charger with every EV purchase. All 36-month lease.
And Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. We're sitting in our Family Leisure studios, and joining us now from TexAgs.com to talk about Texas A&M. Olin Buchanan joins us now. And Olin, obviously the breaking news this morning about Connor Wegman and his injury. He'll be out for the rest of the season. How big of an injury is that for this offense going forward as we really start to get into SEC play?
Well, I think it's always big when you lose your starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Max Johnson stayed around, and he was the backup, and he's a guy that's been a starter in the SEC before. He was a starter 2 years ago at LSU, and actually had a good year. He threw for 2,800 yards and 27 touchdowns. So you surely don't want to lose Connor. He was the starter for a reason, but Max, the heck of an insurance policy. I think that I'll put it this way: I don't think that losing, as good as he is, and he was playing really well for A&M, I don't think he's an excuse to mail it in and say, okay, they're not going to win this game or that game because they lost their starting quarterback. They were in a pretty decent situation with Max.
And Olin, if you had to lose him, I mean, this week's game in Arlington, next week, or the game after that, rather. Next week is against Alabama at home in College Station. So you've got him there, but you also mentioned his experience. He's got laps around the track in the SEC, and left-hander. His dad, famously Brad Johnson, that won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Max Johnson's a guy that I don't know that his arm is as, I know it's not as strong as Connor Wigman, but he really is savvy with the ball. If he were a pitcher in baseball, he would be dubbed that soft tossing lefty.
Well, he threw a 37-yard touchdown pass last week against Auburn to Evan Stewart that was as pretty as you'll ever see. But I think what Max does, Max, first of all, he's a better athlete than people think. He can run it pretty well, but he doesn't make very many mistakes. He threw 6 interceptions that year that he started for LSU, and that was behind let's call it a suspect offensive line. I know, I saw it. I saw him get beat up by A&M and still delivered a touchdown pass the last minute to win the game. So, he's a nice player. He's a good player. A nice player doesn't do enough. He's a good player, and A&M's fortunate to have him. But just felt like Connor Wigman was a guy that was really starting to emerge as one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC, I think.
Yeah.
But, again, you bring in Max. Max started 3 games last year. The Aggies won the first 2. One was against Arkansas, and he got hurt, and then he was lost for the year in the 3rd game, and that was a loss to Mississippi State that he obviously didn't finish. But, he's a good player. He's a good quarterback. He'd probably, if you listed quarterbacks in the SEC, he'd probably be right there in the middle of the rankings if he got to play more. He's not having Connor now because you have Max. I mean, you don't have an excuse to just say, okay, now you're going to go out and lose.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. And Brett mentioned it, a big game this weekend against Arkansas down in Arlington, Texas. What do you expect this weekend against the Razorbacks, a team that a lot of people had some questions about, a disappointing loss for a lot of those fans against BYU, but I thought looked a lot better last week against LSU. What do you expect this weekend?
It's going to be like it almost always is.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every game is decided by a touchdown or less. Last year it was crazy. Arkansas lost a fumble that was returned like 95 yards for a touchdown for A&M, and then missed a field goal on the last play, or not the last play of the game, but in the last minute they could have won it. And that's just the way it is when A&M and Arkansas plays. Rarely has it been I'm sorry about since A&M's been the SEC. Rarely has it been a game where you win comfortably. I think 4 or 5 times they've gone into overtime. I don't know what it is about Arkansas. Even when they were struggling to play well under Chad Morris, they come out and play A&M a great game and be a nail-biter. So I expect it'll be a game that in the last minute or two, everybody's on the edge of their seat and biting their nails. And, for at least from the Texas folks' perspective, they'll be hoping that A&M pulls it off again. They've won, I think, 10 of 11 since they've been in the SEC. But, again, none of them are easy.
No, it's always a wild game. It feels like with the field flip type plays for both sides often during that game. Olin, this is the last one, though, at AT&T Stadium. It goes back to campus next year?
I think, actually, there might be one more at AT&T Stadium. I could be wrong on that, but it was a 10-year deal. It was a 10-year deal, and then in 2020, because of the pandemic, the game was played in College Station. So the deal started in 2014. So with the game playing in College Station year, they got to pay that back. So I think they still play one more after this year, and then it goes up to Fayetteville.
And both sides want on campus, don't they? I know Ross very much does, and I think Hunter Yurchek does, but he's got to watch how vocal he is. I think he wants Ross to kind of take the hits on that one because Hunter Yurchek's got to report to Jerry Jones sometimes too.
Well, I know that. I can speak for the folks at Texas A&M. Yeah, they want it back on campus. College football should be played on campus. More fun there. I enjoy the one trip I've had up to Fayetteville during since A&M was in the SEC. I don't know what the folks up in Arkansas think, but and they probably like having a game in Dallas for recruiting purposes. And there's a whole bunch of Arkansas folks that live in Dallas, the Dallas area. But so I wouldn't be surprised if there's some mixed emotions from the Arkansas point of view. But I think it's almost 100% at A&M they'd rather play it on campus.
Yeah, I think they will tell you how much they like it, but Olin, I think privately they all hate it, but they don't want to make Jerry and Gene Jones and Stephen Jones mad.
Well, maybe. But I do, like I said, I know that they have a ton of people. You know, if you, it's y'all probably already know this, but I think it's for every border state, but definitely Texas. If you go to Arkansas, they won't charge you out-of-state tuition, and so we
know it here in Memphis.
Number of people, yeah. So there's a huge number of people in the Dallas area that have Arkansas degrees and probably look forward to that game because it's the game they get to attend without having to go out of town go out of town. But I look forward to in the future to going up to Fayetteville. I'm not saying they treat us particularly well, but we've been treated worse other places. But it's just a beautiful place up in Fayetteville. I like to visit there for a weekend.
Yeah. Talking to Olin Buchanan from TexAgs.com. And Olin, I was telling this to Brett earlier this week, watching that game against Auburn on Saturday. I mean, I was just mesmerized by Texas A&M's defense. And we've heard a lot over the last couple of years, especially these recruiting classes they've brought in of how good this defense could be, especially that front seven. And when you look at what they did against Auburn, only 200 yards of total offense allowed, only 56 yards through the air, 7 sacks, 15 tackles for a loss. I mean, how good is this defense, and how good can it become throughout the rest of this season and going forward in a year or two when these guys get older and more experienced?
Well, you'd like to think, number one, that that's how good they are.
Yeah.
But you also have to factor in that Auburn's offense just isn't very good.
That's a good point.
A&M did not play well at all in their loss to Miami on defense, and it was really about the yards after catch. They were just missing tackles in the secondary. So, but you'd like to think, well, they've made progress. They've gotten better since then, and they played great against Auburn, like you said. But let's face it, Arkansas is going to provide a much bigger offensive challenge. And as far as the guys growing up, look, they should be grown up enough. Last year they played a lot of guys that were freshmen, but now they're
that's a good point.
Midway through their sophomore years. They should their age shouldn't be an issue. They should be playing at a high level now. If you want to give anybody a learning curve, A&M has a true freshman linebacker that's playing really well for them. But for the rest of them, by the time you're midway through your sophomore year, if you're really good, you're only going to play another year and a half anyway.
That's right.
And A&M feels like they have some of those defensive linemen that are really good, and it's just time for them to play well.
Olin, the A&M next 3 weeks feels like a lot of teams in the SEC. Okay, we've played 4 Saturdays. Just about everybody's played 4. Nobody's had an open date yet. We think we know a little something about everybody. We know a lot more than we did at media days. We think we know a little more about teams. But the next 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to learn the truth about a lot of people. And A&M against Arkansas and Arlington, home against Bama, at Knoxville. It's truth-telling time after those games, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. It's put up or shut up time. And they've been a team over the last couple of years that has frankly not played up to the level of their talent. And it's to the point where you start saying, okay, what's the problem? And I think you got to look at coaching. And now Bobby Petrino being here, there's no doubt his influences on the offense has been, I'll just say, extremely satisfactory. The offense is night and day over
he can really coach.
Last year. And so, but A&M has a tendency to do things that to hurt themselves. They're at Miami. Had a chance to score a touchdown. A guy doesn't run upfield after catching a pass. He runs sideways and he gets stopped short of a first down. Another time they're going for it on 4th and goal at the 1, and a guy jumps, false start, so you have to kick a field goal. Last week they take the ball downfield on Auburn. They're looking at a first and 10 at the 12. a guy jumps, false start. You move it back. You gain 7 yards. You have 2nd and 8 at the 10. What do? They false start. So I talked about the missed tackles. So it's not a talent issue with A&M. It's more of like a mental thing. You're like, what is it? And you know, these are problems that they had last year. Why do the same problems persist? If you can stay in your stance or whatever, you've got the talent to win some matchups. But for whatever reason, this program has very often. Jimbo likes to say they shoot themselves in the foot, and I always say, well, you should be walking on your knees because you don't have any feet left. You've
That's
shot
right.
So much.
I mean,
so if they could ever clean up
they're taking
their
out
own
kneecaps.
if they could ever clean up their own messes, you might see a team that can make a good run. But they're going to have to prove that they can. You know, there's always going to be mistakes. You get that. There's always going to be penalties. But it seems like A&M is that 300 hitter that never delivers with runners on base. You know, the closer they get to the goal line or the red zone, that's when they tend to have some kind of mental bust. So if they could ever get that ironed out, they would have a good chance at making a run and maybe being successful through this 3-game stretch. But they got to prove it.
Yeah, you're right about that. Well, this weekend should be a really fun game between Texas A&M and Arkansas. But, Olin, thanks so much for joining us, and let's do this again soon.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Olin.
Thank you, Olin.
Olin Buchanan from TexAgs.com. Obviously, the breaking news earlier this morning that Connor Wegman will not play the rest of the season's a big one. But I think what he said is right. They've got a very competent backup quarterback that can go in there and get the job done. I think really, I mean, it's terrible for the injury, but a pretty good situation they're in terms of quarterbacks to have that guy that you can really just turn around and rely on. So, you know, and I love the baseball analogy, Brett. You know I love a good baseball analogy, and I think he's absolutely right about that. So this should be a really fun game this weekend against Arkansas.
It will be. Now, Max Johnson's skill set, you know, son of the NFL player, and Olin talked about his athleticism. I told you the other day about Brad Johnson playing college basketball at FSU. His mechanics, his ball faking, just everything he does, it is something to watch. You can tell his dad was a prolific NFL quarterback. I think Brad Johnson ended up around 28,000 career yards passing, and when he retired, that was a lot. It's not now, but it was then.
Yeah, no, definitely a lot back then. So I think a good spot Texas A&M is in right now, despite kind of the terrible injury. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk some baseball.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings & Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings & Grill is family-friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings & Grill.
Golfers, swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest new fall arrivals from TaylorMade, Callaway, and Titleist. Come by and test drive the new TaylorMade P790 irons, the new Callaway Apex Pro iron sets, and the new Titleist T-Series irons. While you're there, get a free custom fitting on the new arrivals and more. Edwin Watts Golf Shops is your headquarters for all the latest golf gear from all the top manufacturers. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee. Shop us in store or online at edwinwattsgolf.com.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, It's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Sports and blinds, they just go together. And right now, all Sports 56 listeners get $50 off any order at Blinds Etc. South. Real wood, 3.5 to 4.5 inch plantation shutters made in the Mid-South are always affordable at Blinds Etc. South. And now get $50 off your order. Get your free in-home consultation at 901-681-0225 or go to blindsetcetera.southllc.com. Upgrade your home with custom-made plantation shutters and window treatments from Blinds Etc. South.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Bell Tavern is waiting for you this Saturday. Well, Bell Tavern is waiting for you all the time, but this Saturday and the next bunch of Saturdays are different because these Saturdays we have college football. We say it all the time. Bell Tavern, Memphis's downtown neighborhood bar, is not a sports bar. It's a great bar that happens to have sports on the TVs. Lots of high-def TVs. You don't want to go watch your favorite college team in some chain restaurant. You want to go to Bell Tavern where you can enjoy the game, make some friends, and have some of the best cocktails in Memphis. That's what you want.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. We're in our family leisure studios, and we just talked a lot of Texas A&M football with Owen Buchanan from TexAgs.com. But we got to get to some baseball. One game going on right now between the Marlins and the Mets. The Mets up 2-0 in some games that the Marlins really need to win. I mean, the Marlins right outside. They've got to sweep, especially against a Mets team that really isn't playing for anything other than pride.
Can the beam machine beam me back to game 1 and me stay there for game 2 in Queens tonight?
Yeah, I think we can make that work.
Can we tax it that much?
I think we can make that work. It might affect where I beam. You might have to take some of like the beam credit from my beam machine or some of the energy from my beam machine.
Are we like on carbon credits with the beam machine?
I don't know how it works. I
want to be green and all.
I just get beamed places. I don't know all the ins and outs, and I'd rather not know the ins and outs of how the beam machine works. So I'm sure we can make it work.
Arizona took care of business today, and look, right now for all those teams in watching that magic number or even that tragic number, don't expect somebody else to get you there by them losing. Right. You go out there and whittle those games off yourself.
Oh yeah,
and Arizona did that on the south side today.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And so we talked about it. A lot of people nationally and in these markets are talking about what's happening in the AL West, but that's not the only division or even league that a lot of stuff's going on right now. I mean, you look at this NL and a lot is still at play. I mean, Miami's right there, half a game back. They really need to take both of these games in this doubleheader, especially after the Cubs had that game won last night, Brett. I mean, up 6 runs early and just completely fall apart at the end of that game. So
crushing.
It really was. So, I mean, Miami has this golden opportunity, but they have to take it. And then Cincinnati, a game and a half back, but just doesn't feel like the same energy between the Reds right now and what the Marlins have done over the last couple of days.
Good run for the Reds. Really good run for Skip Schumacher in his first year with the Marlins. So there's 2 spots remaining in essence.
Yes.
Wild card, the 5 seed and the 6 seed. Mm-hmm. Are we 3 teams for 2 spots, or do you call it Reds 4 teams for 2 spots?
I think we're only 3 teams. I mean, like you said, I think this is a good building block year for the Reds. I think this is a good, you go into spring training next year and you say, man, look at everything we did last year. Let's build on that this year. But I just don't see them making a run. Now I say that they have 3 games left against Cleveland and St. Louis. St. Louis, I guess 4 games, I should say. 3 against St. Louis, 1 tonight against the Guardians. So those aren't world beaters, but you would have to have a lot go right in front of you to make that happen if you're the Reds.
Yeah, it could really just be playing out the string in St. Louis on Saturday and Sunday. But the Reds against the Guardians, that starts in about an hour 10, starts at 5:10 Central. I hate that we're not. I know the new schedule, and I mostly like it, but I hate these teams aren't seeing each other.
Yeah.
Now, you do know on Sunday afternoon, and I like this when baseball does it. Everybody starts on Sunday at the same time. Everybody's going off at around 2 o'clock.
They did that last year too, didn't they?
They've tried it for a while. One year, in 2011, the Cardinals right in the middle of it. It ended like that, and I mean every game had intrigue. It felt like and played into things. It was just a great day, and I looked it up. Next Tuesday, we do have 4 games.
I love that, Brett. I love that. I mean, we might be a little distracted during the show, especially because that's kind of where you get a lot of overlap between
we'll
3 and 6.
We'll just be passing along information.
Yeah, we'll just we got to watch those games and
4 on Wednesday as well.
Wow. Oh, that's beautiful, Brett. That's
4 on Thursday.
Wow. I mean, it doesn't get better than that, Brett.
Couple if necessaries on Thursday.
Okay,
we guarantee you, we think, unless maybe weather next Tuesday and Wednesday, and we look forward to it. The Phillies are in. They're waiting for wild card 2.
Yep.
Whatever that is.
Whatever that is. But Arizona, like you said, took care of business earlier today. I think they'll make it, and a great year for Arizona. I mean, you talk about the Reds. This is a great building year for them, but for Arizona,
I think Torey Lovullo needed it.
I think you're right. And when you look at, I remember talking about the Diamondbacks last year, maybe even the year before, just talking about, there's something there. They can't string it all together, but you'll every now and then see them sweep against the Dodgers or win these big series, big time games against a certain opponent. It just seemed like they were building towards something, and to see it all come together this year has been a lot of fun to watch. But definitely a lot still to play out. Seattle right there, half a game back of Houston. They'll play their last game tonight before Seattle goes on to play Texas. So a lot still to be done in Major League Baseball. But let's go ahead and wrap up this hour. When we come back, we'll talk some college football with David Cohn from Crane & Company.
It doesn't matter if you're at the lake, if you're hunting, fishing, playing golf, or just playing around, Scooters Plus can hook you up with the mobility that you need. Scooters Plus has the largest vehicle and parts inventory in the Mid-South and the best service department. You can choose from ATVs, UTVs, golf carts, motorcycles, dirt bikes, trikes, scooters, and even electric bikes. Come in today to start or wrap up your holiday shopping with 25% down on Christmas layaways. Scooters Plus, 3425 Summer Avenue. Call Sam at 458-8843 or go online to scootersplus.us.
Want to play a private country club but only pay daily greens fees? Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis is your place. You can now play a beautiful, challenging course for only $59 plus tax, including cards. Meadowbrook Country Club features champion Bermuda greens and now is available to everyone. A membership is only $350 per month and includes tennis, pickleball, and swimming, plus a great restaurant and bar. Golf Pro Mark can even fix you up with custom-made tricks on clubs. Call 870-394-4186 today for your Tuesday through Sunday tee time at Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis.
Ready for a new ride? We got it covered at Gossett Kia on the Pike. 41 MPG Highway, we got it with 2023 Kia Forte LXS. $229 a month, $29.99 to its signing. Get some EV action in 2023 Nero EV Wind SUV. 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $269 a month, $49.99 to its signing. Plus, check out 2023 Kia EV6 Wind. Get up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGE, $399 a month, $49.99 to its signing. And Gossett will include a free charger with your EV purchase, all 36-month leases, plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He's ready to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36 6 months, 650 acquisition fee, 40 LSX, PE 678605, MSRP 21610, Nero P507859, MSRP 41090, EV6, P5610964, MSRP 49687, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/2/2023 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
if these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Still a little bit of extra traffic trying to get out of Midtown from an earlier crash we had on 240 southbound in Norris. It was just wrong place, wrong time because there's so much traffic. Again, leaving Midtown, trying to get down through that area. I can still see heavy traffic on 40 eastbound just west of West Memphis over there in Midway and that section of Arkansas as they clean up a nasty crash over there on that side of town. Hey, don't miss it this weekend, Smoky Mountain Fall Festival at Ober-Gatlinburg. Check it out now at obergatlinburg.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. College football talk as David Cohn, the co-host of Crane & Company with Jake Crane, joins Bryant, Brett, and Jay Morgan, a college quarterback at Michigan, a tall man that's on Twitter at David Adam Cohn. Here's David with Bryant, Brett, and Jay Morgan.
David Cohn joins us now, the co-host of Crane & Company, to talk some college football, just like he does every single Wednesday with us. David, thanks so much for joining us again this weekend. And I want to start off with an SEC game, the game that Brett Norsworthy was at on Saturday afternoon down in Tuscaloosa between Ole Miss and Alabama. I think this was a game that, going into it, a lot of people thought this was the best chance Lane Kiffin had at going down to Tuscaloosa and upsetting Nick Saban. And for the first half, it looked pretty good. Ole Miss goes into the locker room with a lead, but that second half, it was all Alabama. They looked much better in that second half. What were some of your takeaways from that game on Saturday?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of the performance from Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. I mean, I've watched him put up more points and more yardage against better Alabama defenses. I thought that he would come in with a very similar game plan as Steve Sarkisian came in with Texas, but not with Quinn Ewers, so I still liked Alabama to win the football game, which they did, but just in a fashion that was very surprising to me. On the Alabama side, look, great win. Right? I mean, after that performance against South Florida, you defend your home turf, you beat Ole Miss, you beat one of your former assistant coaches. It wasn't pretty, but you get a win and you move on. Now, I still don't understand why Tommy Rees isn't tailoring this offense more to Jalen Milroe's strength. I'm just looking at it from all the time I've spent as playing football and dissecting offenses. I would just do things differently. I would move the pocket. I would call more Q power. I would call more Q draw. I would tailor this a little bit more like we saw Jalen Hurts when he played at Alabama. I mean, Jalen Hurts struggled to throw the football at times when he was with the Crimson Tide, but you could see the way that they were trying to get him, the offense tailored to his game. So I'm still a little bit surprised by that. I know that they came out in the second half and looked a lot better, and, Alabama fans were defending the offensive line in the second half of play. But to me, the standard at Alabama is not play horrible in the first half and then play a bit better in the second half and win the football game, and that's a great performance, right? Like you want to be able to piece both halves together and really get that offensive line where it needs to be as you move forward and play some of these more elite teams, which I think there are plenty of teams in the country better than Ole Miss. Look, you're going to have LSU come to your place still. If you find yourself in the SEC championship game, you're probably going to be playing the likes of Georgia. And then in the college football playoff, just look at the teams around the country right now. So, I don't know. Maybe they're just looking at Jalen Milroe and saying, hey, this is the best we can do. I would do things a little bit different, but against Mississippi State, I really like the Crimson Tide to come out and make a statement against them this weekend.
It was season saving for Alabama, and I'm with you, David. A few more boots, a few more waggles, and although it's never been a centerpiece to the Alabama offense, they've had good tight end play. Michael Williams was good. O.J. Howard was good. Smith was good. They've had good tight end play, but it's never been a centerpiece. Find the tight end, quarterback's best friend, and especially one that can't really, get in the 7-step drop and swing for the fences.
I would agree with that. And you tell me what you saw, Brett. You were there in person. I was just surprised once again, especially in the first half, just to watch Jalen Milroe taking 3-step and 5-step drops in the pocket. Now, look, like I said last week, there are times when he does it. It's not even so much a deficiency with him. There are times when he does it and he rips the throw and you say, oh, my goodness, like that's the way a quarterback needs to look in the pocket. But with some of the deficiencies that I see on the offensive line, combined with what I just don't see Milroe's strength as being a pocket passer like that, especially with how athletic he is. I would be rolling that pocket constantly, a lot of play action, a lot of quarterback-designed run to get the defenses to stack the box. And then if you want to take some shots down the field, even from the pocket, that's great. Even if you do nothing more than run 4 verticals so that Milroe doesn't have to make a lot of decisions in the pocket because he's not going to have a lot of time anyway with the way that offensive line is protecting. Even if you did nothing more than tell him, take 3 steps and throw the ball as far as you can, 20 yards over your furthest receiver, at least then that would tell defenses, man, he's going to take shots. He's not afraid to take shots. That combined with the way he's running the football, that's going to open up the run game for the rest of the running back. And then I think you could really start to piece something together on the Alabama offense. Because I'll tell you what, watching that defense play at Alabama, they're going to keep them in every football game. Yeah. They're going to keep them in every football game. Now, we were critical of them not getting to Quinn Ewers in the Texas game, and we've talked ad nauseum for the last year and a half about Alabama committing too many penalties, which I still think Nick Saban is going to get right throughout the course of this season. But that defense right there is going to give them a chance in every game.
Brian and I have agreed on this. Nationally, it is the year of the quarterback. Absolutely. It's not so much in the SEC, though, is it?
No, I mean, when you look at the Pac-12, I think it's the greatest. I think this is the greatest collection of quarterbacks that I've ever seen in college football, and I'm trying to say that and not be hyperbolic about it. But it also shouldn't be surprising because we have this, COVID additional eligibility thing that's going on, right? Which we really don't know. Is the NCAA even putting a cap on how long you can play now? And look, I don't want to complain about it too much because, let's just take Sam Hartman at Notre Dame, right? Which, boy, did that game deliver this past weekend. But, traditionally, Sam Hartman wouldn't be eligible to play college football this year, right? He's the all-time passing touchdown leader in the ACC, had a great career at Wake. Your time is up, you move on. But this COVID additional eligibility has allowed him another year. I mean, look what Bo Nix is doing out there at Oregon right now. Michael Penix Jr. at Washington. Obviously, Caleb Williams is not a COVID situation, but he's, that showdown between him and Colorado this weekend is going to be a lot of fun.
Cam Ward.
Look, Cam Ward at Washington State. I took them this week in the upset, and that ended up being one of the things that I was right about this weekend.
Man.
So really the greatest collection of quarterbacks that I've seen in college football, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it sure is. But talking about quarterbacks, Texas A&M gets the bad news this morning that Connor Wegman will not be able to play in another game this year with an injury. But they've got Max Johnson as the backup, a guy that has been a starter and kind of has been around for a while. What do you make of this injury and for Texas A&M going forward under Max Johnson?
I absolutely hate it for Connor Wegman, man. That young man is a special football player. And I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. So that I hope that he does his rehab, he keeps a positive attitude, and he comes back strong next year. I was really disappointed with that news today. But this is why they say, you're only as good as your backup quarterback. You're only one play away. And Max Johnson's one of my favorite backup quarterbacks in the country. I was really surprised that Haynes King won that job a season ago when Max Johnson transferred in from LSU. Really weird situation there with the end of the Ed Orgeron era, and he leaves and goes to Texas A&M. But look, man, your father's a Super Bowl champ. The kid can absolutely swing, and he makes good decisions. He came in last year in for Haynes King and really started trying to get that offense going, even though they had bigger issues than just the quarterback position. I don't know what to make of Texas A&M now. Max Johnson's going to give them a chance to win a lot of football games, but I don't think he has this, this sort of playmaking ceiling that Wegman had, which is why Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Petrino named that kid the starter and not Max Johnson. But I think you do have a heck of a floor with Johnson. The floor, he started a lot of football games, has a lot of experience. Even this past weekend against Auburn, you saw he came in, man, he threw that post route on the seam and really got them going when they weren't playing good football. So I still think Texas A&M can have a solid season, even though I'm going to be watching very closely because this news is really heartbreaking for Connor Wegman and the Aggie family.
David, you played right there in the middle of the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry, you with the proud Wolverines. Did you think Ryan Day, did he go too far? Was he right? Was it in play to go after Lou Holtz, 84 years old? I mean, this has been the best 15 minutes for Lou Holtz he's had since he left Saturday Night ESPN with Mark May and Reese Davis. Was he that offensive to Ryan Day?
I don't know if offensive is the right term, but you made it a lot more serious than it needed to be because it's not a good look. It's not a good look when you come off that serious after a game based off a comment made by a legendary coach at the former school. What else is he supposed to say? When a quip, a witty little quip at the end of the post-game interview would have gone miles further. Chuckling at the end of a win like that and saying, man, we're so proud to be the Buckeyes. And I'll tell you what, I do think we play a very tough brand of football, despite what Lou Holtz thinks. But you know what?
Hey, Coach, come to practice sometime.
Talk to my game-winning quarterback here, Kyle McCord. That's who you need to talk to, and then walk away. That would have gone miles beyond getting up there and trying to this hustling and bustling attitude. I don't know. And I would be saying the same exact thing if it were Michigan. I'd be even harder if it were Michigan, right? So I don't think there's any bias coming off in my thing. And one of the things, I criticize Jim Harbaugh for a lot of things, but one thing that he gets right, he deflects all the attention in the postgame away from himself and to his players. I think that Ryan Day needs to do that. And I think that the fact that he didn't and that he got up there, I know emotions are running high after any football game, especially when you just barely beat someone on the road in a game that big. Huge win for them, and it set them up for the rest of the season. So I know you're impassioned and you have a lot of emotions, but to me, find a way to bring your players to the center of attention and not go after a former coach who's supposed to take pride in his program and think the Irish are going to win the game.
Yeah, there's a couple layers to this. Like I said, I interrupted you when I said it. Hey, Coach Holtz, come out to practice. You know where Columbus is. You were on Woody Hayes' staff a long time ago. It was your dream job. Everybody at Arkansas thought you were leaving to be Woody Hayes' successor after he punched the Clemson player. Hey, come out and watch us practice. I thought it came off about as authentic as his beard color.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's pretty funny. I agree with you. I think if you're going to say anything, take the sort of tone that maybe Dan Lanning took when they asked him about who was it? Skip Bayless's comments or whoever's comments it was about
who's he?
Vicious play calling or something like that. I understand emotions are running high after a victory like that, but it just, to me, it was cringy. I think cringy is the right word, and maybe another good phrase for it is just not a good look.
Yeah.
Here's a good Lou Holtz story, though. He coached in a lot of places: William & Mary, NC State, Jets, Arkansas, Minnesota. But for a long time, having gone to Kent State, everybody thought his dream job was Ohio State. But being a good Catholic boy, when Notre Dame called, he was on his way. On his business card, when we used to have those and hand them out to people. And I have one that I could find and show y'all. It has the Notre Dame helmet on it, and it says Coach Lou Holtz. But it doesn't acknowledge Minnesota and Arkansas and South Carolina and those other stops. He was coach at Notre Dame.
Yeah, no doubt. The national champion, and that's what people are going to know him as for sure. I thought I was going to play for him at South Carolina, to be honest. And when his son Skip Holtz was there with him, I was a sophomore in high school, and they expressed a lot of interest for me as a sophomore, and I thought, they made it clear, hey, we want to see how you do your junior year, but we're really interested in you coming to play football for us. And then, obviously, before I could get out of high school, Steve Spurrier takes that job, and Steve Spurrier was a little bit higher on other guys like Steven Garcia and other guys like that. So I didn't get an official scholarship offer once he became the head coach. But, yeah, I went to camp at South Carolina when Lou Holtz was there, threw for them, and, thought that I might play for him at one time.
Wow, that's awesome. We're talking to David Cohn, the co-host of Crane and Company, joining us every single Wednesday. Talk some college football. I want to go to another primetime game from Saturday, Penn State in Iowa. David, what Iowa should I expect the rest of the season? The one that put up 41 points 2 weeks ago, or this Iowa team that goes scoreless with only 76 total yards and 4 first downs? I was very disappointed in Iowa because I was just starting to believe in them.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The Iowa offense is just, someone could make a movie off that situation there where, they need to average 25 points a game, something like that. That's right. For Kirk Ferentz's son to keep his job. And obviously, I have a lot of good things to say about Cade McNamara because, he led Michigan to their first win over Ohio in 10 years. First Big Ten championship in almost 20 years. He was the starting quarterback. And, look, it was a very similar situation to Tua and Jalen Hurts, I thought. Everyone at Alabama loves Jalen Hurts, but when Tua came in, the way he was playing football, you recognized it was just different. It was different. And when J.J. McCarthy came in and he got his shot, you recognize, hey, this is the guy who can actually get us over the hump. So I don't know. I've talked to guys on the inside. There seemed to be a lot of resentment on Cade McNamara's part, even though I don't know that for a fact. And he ended up leaving the program on a bitter note, which I can understand. Look, he did a lot of good things for us, took us to the college football playoff, and I thought that he would fit right in at Iowa, and they would have a lot more success on offense that they've had in the past, which they have. Look, last year I think I took the under in every Iowa game I possibly could and hit on a lot of those things. But it's not just Iowa. I think that around the Big Ten right now, there's not a lot of great football being played. I'm disappointed in Illinois. I'm disappointed in Purdue and Nebraska, even in Minnesota to a certain extent. On the flip side of that, the team you mentioned, Penn State, I tell you what, they're a really good football team, and their young quarterback, Drew Aller, is really coming along, man. And this is why I said that for the Buckeyes, they really set themselves up nicely by figuring out a way to win that game late against Notre Dame, because now you're going to get Penn State at home. You get Penn State at home, which is the best, that you could ask for. Obviously, you're going to go on the road to Ann Arbor and play Michigan Thanksgiving week, and that game's always going to take care of itself. It really doesn't matter where it is. It's such a rivalry game, and you've lost to them the last 2 years. The Buckeyes are going to get their best shot, and we'll find out more about that game soon enough. But before we get to all that, the Buckeyes are going to get this Penn State game at home, and I can't wait for that game because we're just finding out little pieces of information each week that goes by, right? This past weekend, I called Separation Saturday because we had so many huge games, and we found out more about Alabama. We found out more about the Buckeyes. Now we're going to find out a little bit more. That same Notre Dame team has to go on the road to Duke. Like, look, this isn't your grandfather's Duke team. Right. That's going to be a big matchup. An undefeated showdown in Austin with Texas and Kansas. This is not your grandfather's Kansas football team. They can beat you in a heartbeat if you don't pay attention, just like they beat Texas a couple seasons ago. So we're getting little pieces of information, and all the while people are thinking, okay, are Georgia and Michigan as good as they're cracked up to be? We don't know because they haven't played the competition. And another question I keep asking is the Pac-12 going to cannibalize themselves? So many great football teams and quarterbacks out there. Are they all just going to beat up on each other to just add to the irony that in the last season of Pac-12 football, they could still not get a team in the college football playoff, but this time because they're too good at football. So that's sort of the storylines I'm looking around at right now.
This weekend, 3 games of local big-time interest. Rapid fire for me, please, if you can. Boise comes to Memphis. LSU comes to Oxford to play Ole Miss, and Arkansas and Texas A&M in Arlington. Who needs those games? Who needs to win those games more? Boise or Memphis? Ole Miss or LSU? Arkansas or A&M?
Well, I tell you what, Arkansas gave LSU everything they could handle last week, and I'm so proud of their performance. I get it, the 14 penalties, most since 2011 or something like that. Arkansas fans were very displeased with that, but still, that's the toughest environment in the country to go play a college football game at night. Arkansas went and played with a lot of pride, a lot of confidence, gave the Tigers everything they could handle, and you boys already know how people in the state of Arkansas feel about anything or anyone in Texas. Look, they're going to go play Texas A&M at this neutral site with everything they got. And, yeah, they do need that win. But, LSU, you talk about LSU coming to play Ole Miss. I mean, from a talking about needed standpoint, because of the loss to Florida State at the beginning of the year, LSU absolutely must continue this train, right? You were allowed one. All right, hats off to you playing such tough competition in the Seminoles at the beginning of the year, a great marquee showdown in week 1. But because you lost it, right, because you lost it, you can't afford any more losses, really, even though because it was a non-conference loss, maybe they could fluke around and still win the SEC and get in with 2 losses, which we haven't seen. But, for all intents and purposes, you really need to kind of run this table now. And you're going to be going on the road to Tuscaloosa, and that everyone's got that one circled. You really can't stumble on the road in Oxford, and I don't think they will. That line's minus 2.5 right now. I like LSU to go on the road and continue playing the type of football, especially on the offensive side of the ball, that we've been seeing them do more of these past couple of weeks. And then Memphis, look, hats off. You gave Missouri everything they could handle, right? This is a good Missouri football team. And, I like Memphis to get back on track here and win the game. How do you guys feel?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I love the game being at home.
I think they win big over Boise.
Oh, wow.
Okay, win big. Yeah, I like
two
that.
touchdowns, 14 points.
On that right now? What's the spread, 14 points?
I think the last time I checked, Memphis, the line was about 3 last time I saw.
I
think the Tigers win by 2 touchdowns.
Okay, yeah. No, look, I tell you, I like this Memphis team, man, and Seth Hennigan and some of those guys they have out at wide receiver. I decided to stay away from picking them as my dog upset of the week against Missouri just because I really do. I mean, that Luther Burden kid Missouri has is an NFL player, man. He's really good. And I like Coach Drinkowitz and what he's built over there. They have a lot of momentum. And what are they? They're only one of 3 undefeated teams right now in the SEC, I believe. I think that schedule will eventually catch up to them because they do have a gauntlet of a schedule still to go. But that's not, that's by no means a bad loss at all to a Memphis team that I think is going to continue to have a great season.
David, last thing for you. Michigan State made it official earlier today. They fired Mel Tucker for cause. Who are some names that you expect to be in that mix for the job at Michigan State?
Well, I know they have Mark D'Antonio back in East Lansing right now to sort of smooth things over. And, man, what a great coach he was for Michigan State Spartans. That sort of blue-collar mentality we always talk about at some of these places. I mean, I played with Mike Hart when he made the little brother comment. And after that happened, Mark D'Antonio got that group together and said, hey, Michigan's our number 1 priority. And, boy, they gave us everything we could handle for a decade plus, under his leadership. So I'm sure he'll have some say in who gets hired. I know the Mike Elko name is getting tossed around right now at Duke. that would be a fantastic hire. I'm for my own personal reasons of being a Michigan grad, I hope they don't go that route, because
Right.
he's another guy who I think would just come in and win football games right away. One of the ones that did surprise me today, and I'm still hoping that it was a troll post by one of the affiliates with Michigan State, but saying that would Marcus Freeman would be like the go-to hire for Michigan State. I thought, man, I don't know what's going on here, but no one's leaving Notre Dame to go coach at Michigan State, especially not Marcus Freeman, who has just played in a marquee game and is on the cusp of winning some of those. But I don't know, who are some names you guys are targeting for that job?
Dan Mullen.
You think Dan Mullen would do well there?
I do.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, look, Dan Mullen knows the offensive side of the game as well as anyone. If you're going to go toe to toe in that, I know the divisions are going away in the Big Ten, but if you're going to go toe to toe with Michigan and Ohio and Penn State, you got to get out there and recruit, which was one of the criticisms that Florida fans had about him, which I think is why Billy Napier kind of has an uphill battle right now down in Gainesville. But at the same time, he would run a great offensive scheme for them.
Yeah, no, he definitely would. There's a lot of names out there. I like that Mike Elko. I know you don't like it very much, David, but that would be very interesting. But, David, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next Wednesday.
Can't wait, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, David.
Bye.
Thank you very much. David Cohn with us every week from Crane & Company. He co-hosts with Jake Crane. You hear Jake on with John Harden. Jason's Deli is the go-to place for breakfast, lunch, or dinner in all these great locations. Whether you want to dine in, you want it to go, or you want it delivered, they've got you covered. You want it catered, they have you covered. Wholesome food forever. It's a family thing at Jason's Deli, and very healthy. First franchise in the nation to be trans fat free. And it's all about choice at Jason's Deli. You got a lot of great choices. You've got all the salads, you've got all the breads, the spreads, the meats, the cheeses. If you want a gluten-free menu, they have it. Vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals. Or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the Build Your Own, you will be delighted at Jason's Deli with all these locations, one close to you, across from MUS on Ridgeway, Poplar and Highland by the U of M, Olive Branch, Cordova. You can always check them out online at jasonsdeli.com, but you need to visit these locations and have that great food there, like the Mesa Chicken Salad, the Big Chef Salad, the taco salad, and soup season for me is really getting here. For many, for Jason's Deli, it's year-round, like the fire-roasted tortilla, the chicken noodle, broccoli cheese, spicy seafood gumbo, and the Texas-style chili. I just love. You can build your own sandwich. You can add a trip through the salad bar. Oh, that salad bar. Over 30 items to choose from right there for you to prepare it however you would like. Catering anytime, anywhere. Locations at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. Complimentary free ice cream when you're in any of those locations. And on a hot, late September day, you'll sure enjoy that. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com.
Well, we need to get to a break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at some of these lines in the NFL and college football for this weekend. But before we do that, here's another traffic update.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Still quite a bit of law enforcement around the area of Whitehaven High School this afternoon. Trying to avoid that area. See crazy slow traffic on 55 southbound right now across the bridge coming over from West Memphis. Finally moving a little bit better down through Midtown on 240 southbound at Norris where we had that earlier collision. Hey, don't miss it this weekend. Smoky Mountain Fall Festival at Ober-Gatlinburg. Check it out right now at obergatlinburg.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch has an offer you can't refuse. They will pay you to do business with them if you want luxury. And I'm talking the Genesis G70 car. If you would love to have that kind of new technology, they will give you a $1,000 rebate when you finance with Genesis Motor Finance. In other words, they'll pay you $1,000 to do business with them, and you get brand new luxury. You can't beat it. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis, right at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78 in Olive Branch. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch, where customer retention is amazing. There's a reason. They take care of you with a team that's been together for a long time. Whether it's finance or whether it's service, you can't beat them. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry, and they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Bartlett Small Engine has free pickup and delivery both at your home and curbside for lawnmowers, blowers, edgers, and any small engine. Call 901-386-9779.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Sports and blinds, they just go together. And right now, all Sports 56 listeners get $50 off any order at Blinds Etc. South. Real wood, 3.5 to 4.5 inch plantation shutters made in the Mid-South are always affordable at Blinds Etc. South. And now get $50 off your order. Get your free in-home consultation at 901-681-0225 or go to blindsetceteraSouthLLC.com. Upgrade your home with custom-made plantation shutters and window treatments from Blinds Etc. South.
Your equipment search ends here. Now that's a bold statement. But at Purple Wave Auction, it's true. See for yourself at purplewave.com. Purple Wave is your online marketplace for ag and construction equipment, utility vehicles, trucks and trailers, and yes, even a classic car or two. Bidding is straightforward and simple. No reserves, no minimum bids. Ready to get started? Head to purplewave.com. Purple Wave Auction. Straight, simple, sold.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. I should also say Johnny Hill with us today, and he'll be with us going forward. We're really excited to bring him on to the team and have him a part of our group. So you'll be hearing a lot more of him in the next couple of weeks, and so moving forward. But we're glad to have him. But another, I think, really fun week.
Do you think Johnny realizes how many texts he's going to get from me over the next year?
Yeah, you're going to hear a lot from Brett. I mean, you and Brett, you are going to be two peas in a pod. No.
Might be that 4 o'clock in the morning text. Did you see this, Johnny.
Yeah, no, we get excited around here, Johnny. So just be prepared. We want to warn you on the front end of it. But no, it should be we've been talking a lot this week about these games this weekend in both college football and the NFL. And I know last week it was a lot of college football. I mean, look at this week of college football and all of these marquee games. And while there's not as much of that this weekend, I still think it's going to be a great weekend of college football. All up and down, I'm looking at games that I'm really intrigued about. And so it should be another fun week of college football.
It will be, Brian, and you're right. It doesn't quite have that marquee sizzle last week. I mentioned yesterday the number of undefeateds and the number of matchups. Only one of undefeated versus undefeated. We've got a lot of matchups of top 25 teams, though.
Absolutely.
And it starts Friday night with Utah at Oregon State, I think, in a very dangerous – I don't know how you can even describe it as trap at this point. If people don't know what you're walking into at Corvallis, what do you got? I mean, how do you explain it to them? And you know that Utah staff that's been to back-to-back Rose Bowls, they know all about it. Another matchup of top 25, the undefeated versus undefeated, but also Saturday in Oxford, LSU and Ole Miss. And then game day will be at Notre Dame and Duke, and that will be the 6:30 ABC game. You know ABC loves getting them some of that Notre Dame NBC exposure. NBC pays all that money for Duke, but they only control the home games. The away games can get away from them. And a game late Saturday night, 8 o'clock kick in Starkville for State and Alabama.
Yeah, that's a late one. I mean, you're not used to seeing those times for an SEC kickoff, but I mean that should be a really fun game. I think for Mississippi State, I keep going back to SEC media days and before the season started when we were looking at this team, and we all had to be honest of we don't know what to expect from this team. Obviously, tragedy over the offseason with Mike Leach. It's just awful circumstances there. Your new head coach is coming in, did not think he would be a head coach. I'm sure at some point thought he would be a head coach, but not in these situations, these circumstances. And so just a very weird start to the season. But you've got to remember, I mean, they have a dynamic offense, a stellar quarterback. I mean, one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC is their quarterback. They just put up, 500 yards, almost 500 yards last week against South Carolina. So this is a game that Alabama may be feeling a little better about themselves after getting that win against Ole Miss at home. They might go to Starkville and say, oh, man, Mississippi State hadn't done anything this year. We can walk right over them. And this could be a game that is extremely close down the stretch.
And Bama going to College Station next week. Again,
look-ahead game,
whether it's trap or one eye on next week, some teams could be in danger. That's the late game. That's a 14.5-point favorite. Alabama, they are on the road in that one. The two 11 o'clock games in SEC, about as good as you can get. Both of them going off at 11 o'clock. Kentucky, a slim 1-point favorite at home over Florida. A&M, a 6.5-point favorite over Arkansas. Arkansas is the designated home team in this one, but it is pretty neutral. Georgia 14.5 over Auburn at Auburn. Mizzou 13.5 over Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt. LSU 2.5-point favorite over Ole Miss at Ole Miss. There's three straight games of the home dog, and then Tennessee 11.5-point favorite Saturday night, early evening, 6:30 on SEC Network over South Carolina. One of two weekends this year that in the SEC, all 14 teams are going, but just 7 games, just conference versus conference. Yeah. I love those weekends.
Oh, yeah. It looks like a really good one. I mean, we're getting to that point of the season where you're getting down to conference play and where the rest of your year is going to be made up of conference matchups. And you talk about this Texas A&M Arkansas game down at AT&T Stadium, an 11 a.m. game. I mean, this seems like a game that is just 6 p.m. on ESPN type of game.
Sure does.
And to be able to get that in the early morning, kick off the day at 11 a.m., that's exciting.
I heard Alyssa Lang earlier today on Paul Feinbaum's show. She was talking about she's part of that crew. She's a sideline reporter and a lovely person and good friend of Brent Beers from her local TV days back in Jacksonville at First Coast News with Brent. And she said they were just ecstatic, over the moon for that crew to get that game because that's usually more prime time and maybe over there network type game in Memphis on Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock at Simmons Liberty stadium. It's on ESPN too, but Tigers, they need Tiger fans out there. It's going to be hot, but it's going to be nice. Be a fun, festive atmosphere. Tigers 3.5. I guess I spoiled it earlier with David, but I think this one's really prime for the Tigers to win this game.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and should be a good matchup. You know, I know a lot of people say that kind of 3 points or so is made up of home field advantage.
Yeah,
but
baked in the cake.
Yeah, and so, you know, you look at this, I think 2 evenly matched teams, but I would say I think Memphis has played. Now, I will say this on the front end. I have not seen as much of Boise State as I have of Memphis, but I would say Memphis has played better football than Boise State has this season. You've talked a lot this week of kind of that cachet of what Boise State was.
I just don't think they're that good anymore.
Yeah, and so, I mean, it definitely seems like they're on the other side of that hill in terms of kind of notoriety and being one of those top teams. So this should be a great game. I know for me, I said this yesterday, me and a lot of my friends who, when Boise State was on top, was when we were in middle school and in high school. I mean, we're ecstatic to be able to see Boise State in Memphis. I mean, it's something that you told us 5-6 years ago we would never even believe. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I love your prediction of a double-digit outcome.
Another game, we talk about Michael Penix, and we do like him a lot.
Yeah.
That's a late game Saturday night, of course. 18-point favorite, the Washington Huskies are at Arizona. Be careful with that one. That's a good test time for Washington. We'll know a little more because I think Arizona can move the ball on a lot of teams. But you're right. The cachet, the notoriety of Boise, I think it's dimmed. And I did not enjoy it. I'm sorry. I did not like being around their fans. I was on 2 different occasions, one here for a Liberty Bowl and one in an Ole Miss game to open the season in 2014 in Atlanta. And I'm not kidding you. They're convinced. You ask any of their fans, hey, rattle off the kind of the all-time kings of college football. Michigan, Notre Dame, us, Penn State, USC. Us? What are you talking about?
That's
it was that few years you were the hostage takers of college football.
Well, it's like a couple years ago when UCF they crowned themselves as national champions. I mean,
about the same thing, and it offended me about as much.
Yeah, I mean, they put up a banner, had a parade, and everything. Maybe got rings. I don't know.
Thin air.
Yeah, just out of nowhere. So. It's it's going to be fun, though. I'm excited to have Boise. I've heard, didn't you say earlier this week, I mean, you just said their fans think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, but you said their fans aren't super friendly, are they?
Very aggressive. I'm telling you, it was like talking points went out to all their fans when you encounter Ole Miss fan or you encounter a fan around here when they were here against was it against Louisville that they played in the Liberty Bowl in 03, 04, so 04, I think. It just I thought is among the worst I've ever been around, and it confirmed in Atlanta against them. And if they hear it, I don't care. And wait till you encounter them. I mean, they think they're Ohio State.
Oh, I'm excited.
My favorite line they gave us the morning after Ole Miss. I can't remember the final score. Beat them 35-10, something like that. But beat them easily. Didn't play that well. Really didn't. It was not anywhere close. I mean, it was a 7-6 game or so for a long time. In that game, Ole Miss pulled away, just had more, beat them. And the next day, it was a Thursday night game, and I'm staying in Atlanta the rest of the weekend to go to West Virginia and Alabama on Saturday. And some Boise fans stayed, and even after that, you would encounter them. And my favorite thing, when they aggressively would come up and go, "We've played better teams than y'all." I go, "You know what? We play better teams than y'all starting next week. It's called the SEC."
It's such a weird, it's such a weird statement. I mean, I wanted to call it a flex, but I don't. Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. So. I'm gonna try to get out there early and be around Tiger Lane. So I'm
encounter them.
I'm hoping I get to meet a couple of them and see what they're all about.
NFL starts tomorrow night. We have all the action right here. It starts with Black and Blue division game. Who knew the Black and Blue division would be on Prime Video on a Thursday night? 1.5 point favorite. The Lions favored on the road at Lambeau.
Yeah, people don't respect Jordan Love. They don't want to hop on the Love train, and we'll see what happens tomorrow night. I mean, I love the Packers in the spot. We talk to Bruce Marshall every week. He seems to like the Packers a lot in this spot, so we'll see what happens.
This week will be very challenging for the Houston Texans, but at home, a 3-point underdog to Mike Tomlin's Pittsburgh Steelers. But I like it's early. I know that. I mean, it's 3 games. They've only won 1. But I like coach, quarterback coming of age together. I like the D'Amico Ryans, C.J. Stroud, D'Amico Ryans ticket in Houston.
I like it a lot. And for C.J. Stroud, I mean, with so many question marks around him coming out of the draft, and a lot of them, I would say, was more on the school he attended than him as a quarterback. It was a lot of, well, tell me the last Ohio State quarterback that has succeeded. And that was my problem around the draft is it didn't seem like many people were criticizing C.J. Stroud, the player. They were criticizing quarterback from Ohio State.
Game?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very good player. And so I love, it's been 3 weeks now to just see him run out there and really perform at a high level. I know don't necessarily have all the pieces around him right now, but I've been really impressed with what he's done through 3 weeks so far.
0-3 Vikings, 0-3 Panthers, downtown Charlotte on Sunday. Minnesota, a 4-point favorite. Minnesota really needs this one, don't they? But the Panthers do as well.
Brett, you know what they say. Something's got to give.
Something's got to give. It's my favorite setup.
Oh, it's going to be a good one. I mean, look, when you look at the Vikings.
Bryce Young back in there, it looks like.
Yeah, but when you look at this Vikings team, I mean, they haven't been able to find wins, but all of those games have been so close. I think they've got to pick up a win this weekend, right?
They move the ball, with ease. I think Kirk Cousins is a really good quarterback. He often is lampooned, and I don't think entirely fair. Again, they've allowed 28, 28, and 20 this year. Kirk Cousins doesn't play middle linebacker.
No, he doesn't. He's just slinging that rock, and he's looked good doing it so far.
He's put up 17. I'm sorry, they allowed 34. He's put up 17, 28, and 24.
Wow.
And they've got nothing to show for it.
Yeah, nothing to show for it. I mean, he can't do everything. Like you just said, he's not playing linebacker, so it should be some fun games. Also, Cowboys, 7-point favorite at home against the Patriots. I'll tell you this, Brett. If the Cowboys had won on Sunday, they'd be double-digit favorites over the Patriots. Just saying.
Well, that's how it goes with your Cowboys. I mean, it's how things happen with them. When they win, everybody's kind of on the bandwagon. Yeah. Not me. I've never been accused of being a bandwagon Cowboy.
You would
fan.
never. Not you, Brett. No. I'm telling you this right now, though.
I never stooped so low.
No. Well, thank you, Brett. But now I'm telling you this right now. If you need a game to get in early on, get in on this one. Bounce back game for the Cowboys. Only 7 points against the Patriots. This should have been a double-digit line. They win by double digits. Cowboys are back. The plans are coming back out of the bag next week when they win by what? What are we saying, Brett? 20, 30 points maybe against the Patriots?
I don't see how the Patriots score. The Patriots can't score 28 like Arizona did on Dallas.
Well, I would have told you last Friday that Arizona couldn't score 28 on the Cowboys.
With Josh Dobbs.
I know. Josh Dobbs looked good out there, I hate to say. But it should be a really fun weekend in both college football and the NFL. Well, let's get to a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses.
Start your day the right way at La Palapa with the biggest, baddest breakfast burrito around. Chorizo, cheese, rice, beans, and eggs served with fresh salsa, and it's served all day. La Palapa has daily lunch specials, all served with rice and beans, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Try a torta, breaded chicken, steak, chorizo, or ham served with mayo, avocado, lettuce, tomato, and jalapenos, all in a hoagie. Plus amazing soups and dinner entrees, all at La Palapa, 5255 Summer Avenue. La Palapa, the little hut with big taste.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing. This family business started up 5 years ago with just one pallet, and now they have hundreds. Tim, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood flooring, carpet, tile, and vinyl. Jenkins Floors and More helps with renovations, home building, and installation. Jenkins Floors and More, number 6 East Commerce Street in Hernando. Also in Little Rock and coming soon to Tennessee. Call 662-469-9350 for more information.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York, but many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
We interrupt this broadcast for special news and information concerning family leisure.
The world's biggest spa sale is back and bigger than ever at Family Leisure. How is that possible? Well, let me tell you. You start off with 50 different spa models to choose from 5 different manufacturers. Then you throw in up to 30% off in-stock spas and swim spas. But is that all? Oh, no. You get free upgrades on all in-stock spas, plus 24 months, same as cash. Wow! This is the kind of sale that you just can't have every day, but it's happening right now at Family Leisure, the world's biggest spa sale. Soak in the savings right now at Family Leisure, Witten Road and I-40. You know the place where family and fun come together.
Please remain calm and walk. Don't run to Family Leisure. And now back to your regular programming.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
So I'm really excited about my big number today because I saw this earlier today, and I get super excited. I'm Brett. I can't tell you the last time I've been this excited for a big number. This is
don't disappoint. Then you set it up too big.
Well, it might disappoint, but I just think it's so goofy and so. I mean, I hope it becomes a thing because it is incredible, but it's just something I've never heard of. My big number's 25. After last night, Fernando Tatis Jr. became the first person to join. Join Mookie Betts. I should be better at reading. He became the second person joining Mookie Betts to join the 25-25-25 club. The 25-25-25 club, you might ask, is 25 home runs, 25 stolen bases, and 25 defensive runs saved. So Fernando Tatis, after coming back from the PED suspension, they've moved him to the outfield. He's mostly playing right field, and he has been unbelievable.
Circus catch a night.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And so seeing him get 25 defensive runs saved is not surprising to me. And now I've never heard of the 25-25-25 club, but I'm glad to know
You have now.
two players I like, Fernando Tatis Jr. and Mookie Betts, are the only two to be a part of that, because obviously the DRS stat is fairly newer to baseball analytics. But Fernando Tatis, welcome to the 25-25-25 club.
We can't get enough baseball numbers and analytics, can we? That was
No,
good.
we
It
can't.
lived up to it. My big number, not far off 25. Mine's 30. Everybody all together now. 30 years since the United States won the Ryder Cup over there. Okay, that sounds like a long time ago. George Spieth was talking about how few players were even born in the end, or just little fellas at best. Here was the U.S. team: Paul Azinger, Fred Couples, Tom Kite, Lee Janzen, Corey Pavin, the late Payne Stewart, John Cook, Davis Love III, Chip Beck, Jim Gallagher, Raymond Floyd, Lanny Watkins, and captain was Tom Watson.
Wow.
Raymond Floyd was old then.
Yeah. That's a team.
Lanny Watkins was old then.
Wow. That's a good big number, Brett. That really is.
That's how long ago 30 years really is in Ryder Cup competition. And I give the European setup team, I give them so much credit. They had it won in Paris the last time it was hosted over there before the first ball was ever hit. They had it in course setup, and the crowd brings it, because we know in all these international competitions, it's nothing like beating the United States.
Oh yeah, I mean it's I mean, Brett, you talked about it earlier. It's the United States of America versus an entire continent. I mean, all of
not
Europe,
just a country,
not just a country, all of Europe,
an entire continent, and I just can't get there on hating them. Again, Sunday afternoon, I want them holding that 17-inch trophy. I want the United States winning, if for no other reason to change. Hadn't won in, when we go back in 4 years, it'll be 34 years. I want the United States to win, but you can't make me hate John Rahm. I'm sorry. I really like him.
Well, and you brought this up yesterday, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot with John Goen in our next segment at the top of our third hour. But I mean, it's changed so much where, I mean, these guys that are on the European team, we see them every Sunday. We see them here in Memphis for the FedEx St. Jude Championship.
They live here.
They live here. I mean, they're a part of it.
Should I get my shot in now about the Ryder Cup victory party?
Sure, Brett. Why not?
There will be 3 big Ryder Cup European celebrations if they win. Of course, it'll be the one there at Marco Simone Club in Italy. Then the next 2 will be after they all get back to their homes, either at the Breakers in Palm Beach or when they all get together at Phoenix Country Club.
That's right.
Because that's where they all live.
That's where they all live. Yep. So, I mean, it's just so different. I mean, we're so used to cheering for these guys on every Sunday. I mean, you go up and down that list, and I can tell you all of those guys I've either heard myself, I've heard you, I've heard Dave, I've heard Jay Morgan, I've heard
We've picked
every
one
person pick them or just come in on a random Thursday or Friday and say, man, I really like this guy. I really like that guy.
Keep an eye on Sepp Straka. Sepp Straka played college golf at Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, Ludwig Aberg played college golf at Texas Tech. I mean, so all of these guys are here. We see them every week. We're cheering for them every week, and now we've got to cheer against them just because they're Team Europe? I mean, look, I love cheering for the red, white, and blue whenever I can, but it's a little tough. You're right.
And among the nicest people ever is Luke Donald, the captain of the European team. I mean, and, he played at Northwestern.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
I'll turn the hate on.
Welcome to the Ryder Cup.
That's the faux part.
Yes.
FAUX. That's the faux part.
That's right. Well, we're getting a little of the Ryder Cup early because we're gonna start our next hour, our next segment, talking all about the Ryder Cup with John Goen from Timber Trust.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. I see some slow traffic on 385 Billmores Parkway coming out of Collierville just before you get to Houston-Levy Road. This is usually where it backs up during morning rush hour. Again, that's westbound. The heaviest flow right now is eastbound as you come off 240 onto 385. It's right on schedule over here where it's saturated pretty good on 40 east up by Sycamore View Road. It's really slow on 55 southbound across the bridge over from West Memphis. Don't miss it this weekend at Smoky Mountain Fall Festival at Ober-Gatlinburg. Check out all the details right now at obergatlinburg.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
The Crazy Coop, America's premier wing destination, has 27 delicious flavors to choose from and counting. Like the Buffalo Ranch, a perfect combo of ranch seasoning with a little kick. Mango Habanero, sweet taste of mango followed by the heat. Or sweet maple bourbon. The taste will remind you of chicken and waffles. And that's just 3 of the amazing 27 chicken wing seasonings that you can get at the Crazy Coop in Bartlett at 7199 Stage Road. And now open the Crazy Coop Express at 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. Some like it hot. How about the Crazy Sweet Lemon Pepper Hot or Crazy Suicide? Can't take the heat? Get the 4-cheese roasted garlic or barbecue bacon bourbon. Ask about the $9.99 lunch special. Now those are some crazy good prices. The Crazy Coop, 2 locations, 7199 Highway 64 between Atlin and Kirby Whitten and 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. Family owned and operated, The Crazy Coop, America's premier wing destination.
Memphis football is home Saturday, September 30th as they face off against traditional power Boise State at 3. We celebrate D'Angelo Williams and the entire 2003 Memphis Tigers. It's also Kids Day. We have balloon artists, inflatables, special poster-making stations, and more for kids of all ages. Tickets start at just $20 to witness 901's team in action. Be there Saturday, September 30th at 3 o'clock. Purchase your tickets today at GoTigersGoTix.com.
All 36 months, 650 acquisition fee, Forte LSX, PE 678,605, MSRP 21,610, Nero, P507859, MSRP 41,090, EV6, P56,109,64, MSRP 49,687, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details, offer valid through 10/2/2023 with approved credit, dealer.com.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah is about to blow my socks off.
That's right, Randy. Get 41 MPG Highway with the 2023 Kia Forte LXS, $229 a month, $29.99 due at signing.
What about those cool new EVs?
I've got EV action with the 2023 Nero EV Win SUV, 253 miles of EPA, estimated range $269 a month, $49.99 due at signing. And the 2023 Kia EV6 Win, 134 city, 101 highway MPGE, $399 a month, $49.99 due at signing. Plus, you'll get a free charger with every EV purchase, all 36-month lease.
And Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair because they just don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance carriers each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. This is why you call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates and consultation and love to assist homeowners with their claims. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, and diagnosing problems is second to none. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. And the best part of all you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and even Mulehide. We offer best-in-class warranties on all of our jobs, up to 50 years. When it comes to roofs and restoration, call Metro Builders to schedule your free inspection. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed, when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Hey, in New York, right now I'm looking at all of the unders for Jets offensive numbers. Passing yards, touchdowns, receiving yards. I'm looking at all the unders in New York. So visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call TN Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Wow, I feel good. Shopping at DriveMax. DriveMax, you get value.
Need a car that screams I feel good? DriveMax has it all. From cars to SUVs, find a tightly inspected used car that'll have you dancing all the way home. Call 901-664-2424 or visit DriveMaxApproval.com.
DriveMax, I got approved.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brett and Bryant with you as we're sitting in our family leisure studios. And joining us now, it's been a couple weeks since we've talked to him, but joining us from Timber Trust Golf to talk about the Ryder Cup, John Gowen joins us now. John, I know we're going to talk a ton about the Ryder Cup, which kicks off in the wee hours of Friday morning. But tell us what's going on at Timber Trust. How are things over there? I know you were always telling us about the fall golf. We're really starting to get to that time where those temperatures are dropping, and it's going to be really nice outside to go get in around to golf.
Right, that was like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago when the temperatures were dropping.
Well,
temperatures are spiking.
Well, but soon they'll be going down, right? That's what they tell me, at least.
Look, we hope.
Yeah.
We hope. Look, it's the same conversation that we have about how long Augusta National, once they over the golf course, has ready for the Masters, right? Mm-hmm. And then when we've had that window, the golf course is good. We've been very fortunate. We're in really a bit of a stretch of tournament season. I mean, I was just talking to somebody. I think we've got 7 tournaments over the span of the next 10 days that really kind of make up the bulk of play. This weekend, though, definitely has some availability from that perspective. But can't be happier with kind of how we're wrapping up the year as far as overall, conditions and play. And we just continue to be extremely busy and just happy that people come down and experience what golf in Mississippi is really all about.
And, John, it will be. We're going to get there, and this has been fun. But this has been a fun little, another blast of summer. But I don't know what the weather's going to be like in Italy, but I know who the pressure is on. The pressure's on the United States team, and the pressure is squarely on Zach Johnson. If Justin Thomas is somehow the blame for not winning, Zach Johnson hears about this the rest of his life. Yeah. He'll hear about this more than his 2 majors, winning at the Augusta National and winning the Open Championship.
We talked about this during Tour Championship time. I mean, Justin Thomas is the X factor, and how much has Justin Thomas's game improved since he literally missed multiple opportunities to try to make the FedEx Cup event and the playoffs in essence, right? And it's going to be very, very interesting to kind of see where this goes. I've not heard. I've been watching a little bit here and there, but I've really not heard where Justin's at from, his game improving perspective. I do know that from what I have seen, I mean, clearly this golf course went through a major renovation in 2018. It is specifically built to host match play type events. And so I don't know whether that means that they're looking for multiple events or multiple matches to be able to come down the stretch and have those last 3 or 4 holes mean something, or whether the rest of the golf course is kind of at a point where matches could end before, these last few holes that might have been designed for, some drama down the stretch. So, look, I mean, Italy's Italy. It's a great place to be able to go. And, if somebody offered me the opportunity to hop on a plane today and get over and watch some golf in Rome for 3 days, I'd probably take him up on it.
Absolutely. Well, you just mentioned Justin Thomas. How much of a microscope is he going to be under over these next couple of days during match play and during these competitions because of everything, that rough stretch at the end of the season, and then kind of all of the questions around the captain's pick and him being picked? I mean, what's that microscope going to be like on Justin Thomas this weekend?
Massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive.
It is.
But unfortunately, too, I mean, he's got some guys around him that are going to create some issues, too. I mean, this is not the strongest Ryder Cup team we've had. And I think that at the end of the day, there is going to be some substantial pressure on them to be able to perform up to expectations. I think everybody feels as if the ball is in the Europeans' hands to be able to go out and win this Ryder Cup, and there's no fault there from that perspective. I mean, he clearly had some other opportunities and some captain's picks and things along those lines. Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, but clearly with the battle with Liv, there continues to be some challenges there. And I mean, unfortunately for Zach Johnson, kind of being this is his Ryder Cup because of being a past, I guess he was really only a major winner at Augusta, but, being a champion that they have chosen to lead this team, he has a substantial amount of weight on his shoulders right now.
John, I hear you, and I hear people talk about this team. Well, we got Brooks Koepka, multi-major winner. Colin Morikawa, same. Jordan Spieth, same. Justin Thomas, same. We've got one-time major winner in Scotty Scheffler, one-time major winner in Wyndham Clark, one-time major winner in Brian Harman. When we slightly poo-poo this team, are we really doing that at Wyndham Clark and Brian Harman, the anonymous, out-of-nowhere 2023 major winners? Or is that really what we're saying is when we kind of ridicule this team, is that they got lucky?
Brett, I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, you know what? Fortunately, this is where Ryder Cups, President's Cups, whatever come down to. And, a guy has a good year. Wyndham Clark, Brian Harman, they have good years. They win majors.
That's it.
It's just kind of where the chips fall. I think that's why they pushed so hard for all these captain's picks at the end of the day, or to push who qualifies so late into the season so that ultimately you can get some of these guys that historically have been better players, not so many outliers, things along those lines. And then that way it creates a better product overall. Ryder Cup, a President's Cup from a PGA of America or PGA Tour perspective.
For a long time, it ended, ironically, coincidentally, it ended in 1991, the same year that John Daly, out of nowhere, won the PGA Championship, then Glory's last shot, the last major of the year. Before that, if you won the PGA, no matter who you are, I mean, if it had been Rich Beam, if it had been Y.A. Yang, not American, if it had been Rich Beam, if it had been Sean McKeel, when Jeff Sluman won it, that was automatic to get on the team. It was not because of JD, it was not because of John Daly. It just happened to be that year. And slowly we've gotten into more and more captain's picks. We get to a point with a couple of more losses to them that the whole team will be whatever the captain wants to take.
I mean, you got to think that we potentially do. I mean, does it ultimately rotate into the top two guys? Because realistically, the top two guys are going to be well within the top 5 in the world. It's obviously very hard to say, but there needs to be something, because then at the end of the day, who cares? If it's all captain's picks, then who cares how I play through the course of the year? I could be Justin Thomas that has an absolutely terrible year, although that literally happened, and I'm still on the team because I'm not a live guy.
I'm Justin Thomas. Yep. And Dustin Johnson would have.
I'm Justin Thomas. I'm loyal to the tour. I'm loyal to the PGA of America. I'm a 2-time PGA champion. But we're literally like giving up hope on Dustin Johnson and Bryson DeChambeau because they play on different tours, but could have had better years. And Keegan Bradley had a better year than Justin Thomas. So we're saying that Keegan Bradley's played on Ryder Cup teams before and had success.
Yeah.
I mean,
and a PGA champion.
As fiery as anybody.
Yeah.
He once wanted to fight Miguel Angel Jimenez, which is really dangerous.
Well, that is true. We're talking.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. Talking to John Goen from Timber Trust Golf, and talking about kind of some of the newcomers for both of these teams. One guy that I've really been intrigued with, not only around the Ryder Cup, but since he's made his PDGA debut, which was kind of middle of the year this past season, is Ludwig Aberg, who has come along, just graduated from Texas Tech, and now is going to be a part of this European Ryder Cup team. I feel like a lot of pressure for him, not even a full year, hadn't even participated in a major yet, and will be a part of this Ryder Cup team. How challenging will this weekend be for him?
How many matches do you truly think he'll play in this weekend?
Well, for me, as a guy who loves watching
he's got to play Sunday.
I hope he plays all of them.
I would think he plays in at least one. Obviously, that's Sunday. Does he play in something before that to at least get him comfortable in the match play environment? Yes. I mean, okay, if I'm Vegas, do you set the over-under at 2 matches for Ludwig? Bryant got the pronunciation
correct.
No,
John. No, John. You have to do this one.
I'm
driving in a truck. I'm driving in a truck.
All right, fine.
I can't get it.
Ludwig Aberg. Ludwig Aberg.
There you
Texas
go.
Tech Red Raider, no less. Guns up.
Guns up.
Guns up. Mike Leach.
For sure. John,
you
you know his nerves. I mean, you know he's got to be nervous. I mean, he's never been over and stuck a peg in the ground at a major.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't see how this happens, right? I mean, I think you've got to clearly put him in one match, probably a 4-ball match, so he's not got a lot of pressure in foursomes. You get into alternate shot, too much pressure on somebody in a first Ryder Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So you get out of that. He'll play in a 4-ball, and then he'll play in a singles. I don't see him playing in anything more than 2. Which
4-ball with veteran player.
The same thing. You could absolutely veteran player. But you could almost argue the same thing with Justin Thomas right now.
Yeah,
although
sure
they'll pair him with Jordan Spieth, and they'll be a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting part for me is, who do you put Brooks Koepka with? Because he's the outlier. He's the only live guy on this entire team that we have trashed the entire year. So who does Brooks Koepka match up with to be able to partner with? And now all of a sudden we're welcoming him back into the fold. Brooks Koepka is now one of us again. He is a man of the people. Like, what are we doing here with Brooks Koepka?
He's a winner, John.
But John, we did it to Patrick Reed.
We can still trash him all season long.
We did it to Patrick Reed. We hate him. We hate him. We hate him. Captain America, we love him. USA, we go back to hating him.
I'm just again. I mean, we have trashed Liv and taken the stance the entire year, and Brooks Koepka is the only guy on the Ryder Cup team that plays on the Liv Tour, and now all of a sudden we're supposed to figure out how we pair him with whom.
Yeah. But I wish
I have no
I wish
idea.
Koepka would go, I don't need a partner. I'll play by myself.
Solo.
I wish we would pair Brooks with Justin Thomas.
Oh, yikes.
That's Max of Tiger and Phil, and boy, Hal Sutton had that blow up in his face. John, I'm calling it now.
It would be.
He may not want to. He sure won't need the money. But if Brooks Koepka post competitive career, if he wanted to, I would put him on TV, and he would be the next Johnny Miller of analysts.
Because he's that blunt. He doesn't care.
He's that good. I mean, he said it today about people that didn't make the team play better.
Great.
Right. Sure. I mean, there's that. I mean, obviously, I still feel like there's a substantial amount of pro PGA as far as how this team got picked. I don't know. I mean, Dustin Johnson, you really feel like is a top player in the world. Bryson DeChambeau was playing better. If you want to leave Dustin Johnson off the team, I can't argue that point.
Right.
But
Agreed.
Bryson DeChambeau, when it really counted, was actually playing better toward the tail end of the season when he's trying to make the Ryder Cup team. I mean, he truly is. And so, you can argue that point all you want, but you've put guys like Justin, you put guys like Ricky Fowler, you put guys like others, those other types of guys, Wyndham Clark on the team. When you've had these other guys that have played in these types of events, and you're trying to win for the first time on foreign soil in a substantial amount of time, it's just hard. It's just very, very hard. But, clearly we're at a point in time where loyalty means something. And that's ultimately, I feel like, is going to be Zach Johnson got his pom-poms in his hand and rooting for these guys as hard as he can so that he doesn't have to deal with it on the back end. Because to your point early on, Brett, if he doesn't win this Ryder Cup, he will not be the captain of another one.
Yeah.
Oh, no. It'll be, if he doesn't win it and it's expressly Justin Thomas's fault, the derision for him, and I say mostly in bounds, mostly fair game.
John, we still got you?
Yep, sorry.
Okay,
Dropped
cool.
for a second.
Yeah, no. I was just making sure we still had you.
Brett, if this turns into a beatdown, though, does it solely turn to Dustin Johnson? Or, I'm sorry, does it solely turn to Justin Thomas? If this turns into an absolute
if it's his
beatdown,
fault, I mean, tell me what his record is. And he's got a sterling Ryder Cup historical record and really good in match playing. Great college player. But it's so out of character for them to get back in this team thing.
How many matches does Justin Thomas play in this week?
It might be right there with Ludwig Aberg.
Right there. I agree. I mean, because at some point, Zach Johnson's got to realize I don't want the smoke.
If he plays in two, Justin Thomas is still not playing well. If he plays in more than that, then he's playing better than what we have seen from him.
That's a good point.
In the last 6 months.
And then it's not his fault.
Or you're in
expressly
complete delusion. If he plays in more than two and does not play well in any of those, then Zach Johnson is living in la-la land in his head.
And John, I've kind of Warren Bryant and the audience out with this week. I don't mean to. I want the United States to win on Sunday. It'll be fun TV. I'll be into it early morning TV. Heck, I get up about the time they'll be teeing off all these matches. I love that. But I can't make myself hate the European team. First of all, I really like Luke Donald, one of the nicest humans that ever walked planet Earth. Really like Roy McIlroy, really like John Rahm, really like Matthew Fitzpatrick. But in that, with that, hadn't the European team that we used to have such contempt for, whether it was Poulter, whether it was even back in the day Seve. Don't buy all this stuff of Seve at the end and we loved him. We didn't in the 80s in Ryder Cup. We didn't Jose Maria Olazabal. We didn't Bernard Longer, how he got treated at Kiowa in 91. Hasn't the European team become Americanized? They hit the ball high now. They play like Americans. I said they live at Palm Beach and they live at the Phoenix Country Club. They're very American.
They live in Jupiter. They live in, South Florida, so they can play year-round, so they can continue to improve their game. They live in Phoenix. They live in Texas. Mm-hmm. They live, in the States, mainly for probably financial reasons.
Sergio Garcia married a girl whose dad played football for the Texas Longhorns.
Hook 'em.
So, look, I still think at the end of the day that there's a substantial amount of patriotism in this whole thing. And it's hard to root for the European squad. Mm-hmm. I just think that it's who we are as, Americans. So, you say it's hard to root against the European squad. I don't have that issue. I would root against the European squad. I root against the international squad, although I feel like there's a really good chance that 99% of the time we're going to beat them because they don't have a very good team. I think that the PGA Tour chased the success of the Ryder Cup to create the President's Cup, and it's not been overly competitive. But it's obviously because of the history behind the Ryder Cup, it's substantially easier to root against Team Europe than it is really to root against the international squad. At the end of the day, in my opinion, there's clearly been the meltdowns, over the years. I mean, the loss at Medina was gut wrenching. As someone who has, watched the Ryder Cup for as long as I've watched the Ryder Cup, but the funny part too is to your point about Bernard Longer and the putt that he missed at Kiowa. I mean, I was a college kid at that point in time, and I've never been more excited to watch a guy who clearly struggles with his putting miss a putt than Bernard Longer. And I think that that's what we continue to strive for and root against and things along those lines, even though that, in the history of an event like ours here in Memphis, I mean, the Europeans have clearly supported it more than most of our American team has up until recent history. So, but I will still always continue to root against Team Europe and not really have a real hard issue doing it just because of what it is.
Yeah,
it's just like I don't root I don't root for UVA
That's
at
right.
any point in time through the course of the season.
That's right.
I'm glad they're 0-4
Damn
and
straight.
they won one football game this year.
That's right.
I mean, that's what
That's
it
right.
is.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Stoke that fire.
I love it. Well, John, it should be a lot of fun this weekend. Before we let you go,
Great stuff,
tell us where people can go on and book a tee time at Timber Trust.
So you can book tee times obviously multiple ways. We've got the website timbertrustgolf.com. You can call us 662-895-3530. We've got our Timber Cup matches coming up the 21st and 22nd of October. Lots of great gifts, tea gifts, all-inclusive food and beverage. 2-day event. We will have, an alternate shot. I'm sorry, not alternate shot. It's a better ball and a 2-person scramble on Saturday. And then we'll also do singles matches on Sunday. We've got a lot of customized tea gifts for that event. And if you're interested, again, it's all-inclusive food and beverage for both Saturday and Sunday, October the 21st and 22nd. You can call us 662-895-3530. And you can also register through our Facebook page or Instagram, timbertrustgolf.com, Timber Trust Golf, on both social media platforms. And again, 662-895-3530 to call and register for the Cup matches coming up October 21st and 22nd.
Well, John, thanks so much for joining us, and enjoy all the action this weekend.
Should be great. 1:30 in the morning Central Time come Friday, guys. We'll be up and at 'em. But y'all enjoy golf. We're obviously rooting for Team USA to kind of pull off this miracle here over the pond here for the first time in a substantial amount of years. So look forward to it. Thank you all so much. And we'll look forward to Augusta come next year.
That's right. Thanks, John.
You got it, John. Thank you, man. Thank you so much, John, going with us. Thank you, talking golf with us all year from Timber Trust Golf and the Ryder Cup. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Hewlett & Dunn. Boot and Jean on the historic square in Collierville since 1961. Charles Hall started working there in his teens, and now with his wife, Laura, what a team they have. It's as loaded as these Ryder Cup teams. They own the place, and it's known for all the boots, but also clothing, accessories, and a cap for any team in any season. And they've got the patriotic gear as well, Western wear, work boots, safety toe or soft toe, rubber boots, whatever boots you need, they have it. A boot for every occasion, dressy or work, they've got it at Hewlett & Dunn. From head to toe, they have you covered with every brand imaginable. Area, Dan Post, Anderson Bean, whether for men or women, men's and women's clothing, jeans, shirts, pants, shorts, outerwear, and the best duckhead collection you'll find. Charles and Laura Hall invite you to 111 North Center Street, or go to HewlettDunn.com if they want to visit you on the square in Collierville. Sunglasses, boot care products, hats, and every team snapback you can think of for the Tigers, for Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Tennessee, the Razorbacks, and for travel, the bag selection, it's top shelf. HewlettDunn.com. But please visit and say hello at 111 North Center Street on the square in Collierville at Hewlett & Dunn.
Well, we're late for a break. We need to get to one, and when we come back, we're going to talk about what's trending. But before we do that, let's get to another traffic update.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's still pretty crowded coming across that bridge on 55 southbound. We've been watching that run slow now for at least an hour over from West Memphis on 55 southbound. Yes, it's busy over here on 240 on to Billmores Parkway 385. That still looks good, actually, headed out towards Collierville. Weimer's Jewelry, they're back open better than ever. Go by and see David and his family at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Oh no, your little one is back to school and caught a cough. Help them feel better fast with DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough. It's specially formulated just for kids and helps treat their most bothersome cold symptoms. It's also available in 2 delicious flavors, honey and berry. DayQuil Kids from Vicks is the daytime congestion, coughing, stuffy head, stuffy nose just for kids medicine. Pick it up at your local pharmacy or any major retailer today. For kids 6 and up, use as directed.
Golfers, swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest new fall arrivals from TaylorMade, Callaway, and Titleist. Come by and test drive the new TaylorMade P790 irons, the new Callaway Apex Pro iron sets, and the new Titleist T-Series irons. While you're there, get a free custom fitting on the new arrivals and more. Edwin Watts Golf Shops is your headquarters for all the latest golf gear from all the top manufacturers. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee. Shop us in store or online at edwinwattsgolf.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. We got a little less than 30 minutes left in today's show, and we got to talk about what's trending. We talked about it at the beginning of the show, the Mikey Williams kind of update we got from the university that he is enrolled in online classes. He's taking online classes through the university, but he's not with the team. He does not have access to the facilities while he is still getting through all of his issues over in California. But you know, I think this is one update, and I think this is the school kind of putting it out there just with the start of practice, kind of making sure they have all their bases covered. But soon we're going to have to get news on both Mikey Williams and DeAndre Williams. What happens to them? Will they, with Mikey, it's starting to sound maybe like, okay, if he's in classes, if he gets cleared, then maybe second semester he can come in and kind of be with the group during that conference slate. But for DeAndre, we're really starting to get to the time where we're really ready for answers.
Decision time.
It's decision time, and it feels like, and I know I've talked to you about this, I've talked to Dave about this, I think we all agree, nobody knows anything about this situation with DeAndre Williams because nobody's really privy to what's going on in those meetings with the NCAA in terms of making these decisions. But you hear the reports, you hear people coming out, national people, local people saying, a month ago at this point, you should be getting news this week. We should be getting news next week. It should be coming soon. And now we're sitting here. We're almost in October. We're getting ready to be in the month that you start exhibition games. Practice has already started, and we have no answer whatsoever about DeAndre.
No, and I just fear that this is the last, kind of clutches of the NCAA to show people that they still have this power, and I don't feel good about this decision. I'm not saying I don't think the University of Memphis did this, but what if there's one pinhead at the NCAA that thought the Tigers spiked the ball last year on the IARP decision? Right. What if there's one?
Yeah.
And it's how small most of them are at the NCAA that one could cause you enough trouble to, okay, we're going to slow boat this, we're going to slow walk it, and then we're going to say no.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be awful, and I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, the NCAA at this point, I wouldn't put anything past them. I mean, if they want to hold a grudge, I would not be surprised if they, we've talked about it the past couple of days of it starting to seem like with football and basketball that they're just denying everybody they can deny. If they have a reason that they could deny you, they're going to deny you, and it just seems like I wouldn't put anything past them. If they want to kind of play tyrant and make all of the decisions, and
they love
playing tyrant. They're going to do it. So I hope we get news soon, because I would love for DeAndre to be around this team if he gets that extra year of eligibility. I would love for him to have been with this team yesterday when they started practice, but for these new guys coming in, even the older guys that are transfers in, DeAndre is that leader that you have with this team that has been here for years, that knows exactly what Penny expects and demands from his team. And so I think he needs to be around this team. I think he needs to be in those practices. So I hope we get an answer soon.
What if, again, on kind of on the more optimistic end of this, for Mikey Williams, we know his preliminary hearing has been postponed 3 times now, scheduled for October 10th. That's 2 weeks from yesterday. Mm-hmm. What if we got to October 10th and finally the prosecutors, whether they, I don't know, I'm just pure supposition. What if they said, okay, we found out as much as we can about this case, while maybe not a great look, maybe not as dangerous as once feared, we've strung this out long enough, it all goes away.
Right.
He goes to practice that day, doesn't
he? Absolutely. I mean, from everything I've heard and what it sounds like he is still in California. That could be wrong, but from what I've heard, he's probably still in California. So I think immediately after that happens, say goodbye to your family, say goodbye to your friends, hop on a flight, get to Memphis, and get with that team. And I mean, that's best case scenario, and I would love that. Even, I know, and I heard Dave talking about this earlier today. I mean, there's some people that want to say, oh, he's the most overrated 4-star recruit, and he's not even a 4-star, and people want to say he's a 5-star, and he's not anywhere close to that. I don't care. This is a commit to the University of Memphis that's going to be a freshman next year. I want him to be around those other freshmen. I want him to be around this team, and who knows? I mean, I've heard people on the far positive end of Mikey. I've seen people on the far negative end of Mikey and his potential as a collegiate and professional basketball prospect, but nobody knows, and so I want to get him around this team, get him in practice, because you really don't know what you have with him when he's still dealing with all of these issues.
If he gets here, here's one of the first things I want to see. One of the early games I want to see in shoes playing in a game, just how big he is.
Yeah.
Because that's one fear people have told me about him. It's just no way he's 6'2".
He's not. I've never seen him in person, but I don't think he's anywhere close.
And you know who does not trust little guards? Our buddy Mark Wise from ESPN. and I'm there with him. I just don't. I don't think you go anywhere with little guards.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, but I mean, this is a guy that has been an electric player in high school. I mean, I don't think you can say anything outside of that. He lights it up, and he can really.
You know what scares me? We had that from San Diego once before.
Well, that's very, very true. But Brett, I will say, I mean, MVP caliber guy over at USC right now, team leader over at USC right now.
And back for another year. I've started doing some college basketball stuff and have to check all these rosters. Is he back? Yeah, he is. And today, and I don't think I was alone when I saw our friend Jason Munns, the fabulous beat writer from the Commercial Appeal on all things Tigers basketball, showing Coach Hardaway kind of in drill instructions with Alex Lomax. I'm like, is he? Isn't he? What's going on here?
Well, I think,
and he's not.
I think Jason might be regretting that tweet because because Jason Munns does a fantastic job. And I'm not just saying that because he is a guest of our show. But
everybody's thinking, is Alo back?
He's phenomenal. And because he's so good, I have his tweet notifications turned on. I mean, I love getting the updates from him about the team, about everything going on. And so I just see him tweeting, since we've started the show this afternoon, I'll just see random tweets from Jason Munz that say no. And that's all it says is no. And so I'm like, why is he tweeting just the word no? And I'll click on it, and it's people asking.
So Jason's getting peppered with this.
Oh, yeah. People are, is Alo still on the team? Is Alo still playing? Is Alo?
It was my reaction.
No, he's not playing. He's not playing. No. And so it's like all afternoon.
And do we really know these rosters? And I like that you got that big book to start getting ready for college basketball, and I'm looking at the schedules. The opening night of the season, Monday night, November 6th, just about everybody in college basketball goes that night. There's some pretty good matchups that first night, and then that first week that leads into all those great kind of national matchups around college basketball. November is my second favorite college basketball month behind March.
It's beautiful. I mean, all the tournaments. And, I know some people say we need
time of day.
Oh, it's beautiful. I know some people are like, we need to stop adding all of these tournaments. We've reached the limit. There is no limit in terms of these early season tournaments or showcases or whatever they want to call them. They're all great. I'm a fan of all of them. The more basketball, the better, in my opinion.
Bryant, the limit the tournaments in college basketball had the same fate as limit bowl games. It is not happening.
No.
We need programming,
right?
And they make a modicum of money.
Yes,
and we need programming. It always go back to the money side.
And specifically with programming, for a fact if Arizona and Cincinnati are playing in Maui at 10:59 p.m. a ton of people are going to be watching that game because a ton of people want to watch these college basketball programs. So I love all these tournaments.
And we'll watch them.
Absolutely. We'll definitely watch them. So, but back to your point about nobody knowing the rosters. I mean, it's a mix of the additional year for COVID and the transfer portal and just the way college sports has changed. I mean, we just don't know these rosters, and I think for a lot of these people, like you said, I've already purchased a magazine, I guess you could call it, for a preview for the college basketball season. But all these people who are doing these preseason magazines for college football and college basketball, they love all the transfer portal and COVID year because nobody knows the rosters, and everybody needs to know, and they have that excitement for the season, and they want to learn everything about their team. And this turnover from year to year, it's a lot, and you're having to go into September and go into early October trying to relearn these rosters and, okay, who are going to be the top teams and top programs in college basketball this year.
And smart on their part to recognize the market.
Absolutely. I mean, why not? You capitalize on it because there's a lot of money there.
Supply and demand.
Exactly.
People need to know, and they got the supply and we got the demand.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really cool. I'm glad, obviously, that we got practice kicked off yesterday and seeing today. I know Jason Munz was out at practice. You mentioned that Avery Braxton was out there. I saw a ton of videos and pictures from all the local reporters and media people that were at practice the other day. It got me excited, I'll have to say.
That the first Friday of college basketball, Friday, November 10th.
Okay.
Arizona and Duke play that night.
Wow. Brett, I remember last year I came in on like a early October day, and you said, Bryant, this was before the show started, you said, Bryant, have you looked at the schedule for the first week of college basketball? I said, Brett, I can't do that to myself because I'll get too excited about all these matchups. I have to wait. So I have not looked, and I will not look at any of the matchups for the first week of college basketball until we're at least 2 weeks away from it.
It's stellar. I mean, it's rolling out, the big guns very, very early. Also that Friday, that first Friday night, I want to say Florida's in a big one. I can't find who they're playing, but it's a big game in the Hall of Fame series. Florida plays Virginia.
Wow.
That the Tigers play.
Wow.
Just a few weeks after that.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. I mean, we talk about it a lot, especially with college football just starting. I mean, they know how to make schedules and make marquee games, and in college basketball, they've known how to do that, and they do a really, really good job at it. But let's get to our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
A good friend of mine often says that golfers are the best athletes. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. Now, I don't want to embarrass Ed by mentioning his name, but if you stop and think about it, he may be right. Just like the best real estate agent may not be who you think. Like a left tackle in football, a golfer hits it hard off the tee. Like a sprinter, the golfer walks down the fairway to reach his ball. Then like a quarterback who wants to connect with a distant target, the golfer hits the ball again, and in my case, again and again and again. So if you or someone you know is thinking of selling a home, draft your team by interviewing the players. Find out who will block that offensive lineman from knocking your deal down. And find out about the Shellbucks option play. When interviewing, call or email me to find out why people often say, when you want the job done, call Shell Done. You can reach me at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. That's 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now and don't fumble that ball.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Cooling or heating system on the fritz? Dripping faucet? Call the pros at Conway Services today and we'll waive the service call fee with any HVAC or plumbing repair. Expert technicians available 7 days a week. Call 384-3511 to schedule your appointment. Visit conwayservices.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 19688.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Ready for a new ride? We got it covered at Gossett Kia on the Pike. 41 MPG Highway, we got it with 2023 Kia Forte LXS. $229 a month, $29.99 to its signing. Get some EV action in 2023 Nero EV Wind SUV. 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $269 a month, $49.99 to its signing. Plus, check out 2023 Kia EV6 Wind. Get up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGE, $399 a month, $49.99 to its signing. And Gossett will include a free charger with your EV purchase, all 36-month leases, plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He's ready to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36 months, 650 acquisition fee, Forte LSX, PE 678,605, MSRP 21,610, Nero P507859, MSRP 41,090, EV6 P5610964, MSRP 49,687, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/2/2023 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair because they just don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance carriers each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. This is why you call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates and consultation and love to assist homeowners with their claims. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, and diagnosing problems is second to none. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. And the best part of all you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and even Mulehide. We offer best-in-class warranties on all of our jobs, up to 50 years. When it comes to roofs and restoration, call Metro Builders to schedule your free inspection. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Once again, here are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
If I go crazy, then will you still call me Superman? Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today is Damian Lillard has officially been traded from the Portland Trail Blazers. We all saw it coming. It's been months and months of talk about it, but today it officially happened. He's going to Milwaukee. He'll be over there with Giannis, and that team could be scary with those two all-stars on that roster, but there's still some loose ends to be tied. Drew Holiday, who was a part of this trade going to Portland, it sounds like the Trailblazers have already been in conversations with other teams, championship contender teams.
Don't buy a jersey.
No, do not buy a Drew Holiday jersey because it doesn't sound like he'll be with Portland very long. I talked about it at the beginning of the show during Top and Not Top Story of the Day I didn't really understand this trade. Maybe you get something back for Drew Holiday that's younger, maybe some more picks, and that would make more sense, but I just don't see them doing much with Drew Holiday or Ayton, and I wouldn't be surprised if sometime during the season, neither one of those guys are on the roster. It sounds like Drew Holiday will happen very soon.
Great content for tomorrow at 4 o'clock when we talk to Keith Smith.
Absolutely.
Isn't it? Great content, always is with him. What I've learned in this year, the quarterback, I think Penn State's got them a really good one. They're the only team in college football without a turnover this year. They have Drew Allar playing confidently and very competently. 8 touchdowns, of course, with no team turnovers. He has 0 interceptions. He's over 900 yards. Good, steady player. They're heavy favorites this weekend at Northwestern. But remember last year that close call Ohio State had playing at Northwestern. And for Penn State, their season will be defined by at the Horseshoe against Ohio State and home against Michigan.
You're absolutely right about that. What I could have done without is the incident that happened last night during the Mariners and Astros game. Brett, I don't know if you saw this. I was watching the game. I had actually walked away from my television when this happened. I came back. Scott Servais, the manager for the Mariners, is out talking to the home plate umpire, and I'm going, what's going on? Did something happen? And they immediately played the replay back. A foul ball had been hit into the stands on the third baseline side. A fan catches the ball and throws it back at starting pitcher George Kirby, who was on the mound and not paying attention. It barely grazed the front of his jersey. Could have been much worse. Scared George Kirby to death. But a young fan, they escorted the fan out. They obviously kicked him out. The fan can't be throwing balls at players, especially the starting pitcher. But he was a Mariners fan. I mean, a young Mariners fan.
Well, we throw home runs back, and I don't like that.
That's very true, and that's what they were saying is, maybe because it was the Astros at the plate, maybe he just got confused or something. I don't know. But it was a bad look for Seattle. A lot of people were talking about it last night and this morning. But I'm just glad that George Kirby wasn't hurt by the ball being thrown back at him.
I am too. I could have done without this. Lou Holtz, his best 15 minutes in a decade. Go away, Lou. Nobody cares what you have to say anymore. Thank goodness you're not on my TV anymore late night on Saturday night with Mark May and Reese Davis. You got to give it to Lou, though. He doubled down. He's not backing down. He never has. If Ohio State isn't that good, what does that make Notre Dame? Because Ohio State won.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me to Queens. I got a disaster in game 1 of the doubleheader. The Marlins needed it. And this time of year, you don't want any rainouts this week because that's a real problem because this got to end Sunday or Monday because we got to get those playoffs started. Brian Snitker should be the National League Manager of the Year. But if Skip Schumacher somehow squeezes into the playoffs, he should get some consideration. Brandon Hyde, landslide winner in the American League. Yes, Brandon Hyde. He's the manager of the 98-win Orioles, if you didn't know.
Yeah, he was. I'm going to beam to this might be a curveball to you. I'm going to beam out to the I'm lost my place. Royals and Orioles game, no, Royals Tigers game. Jonathan Bolin, a former Memphis Tiger pitcher, making his MLB debut tonight for the Rockies.
And see the last days of Mickey.
Absolutely see that. But once that's done, send me out to Seattle. A big time game tonight between the Astros and the Mariners. Framber Valdez versus Bryce Miller.
I'm with you. Houston, Seattle. Cubs after the nightmare last night. They're in Atlanta. Reds in Cleveland. Rays at Red Sox. Blue Jays hosting Yankees. A lot going on in baseball tonight, and we're back to football tomorrow.
Yeah, a lot going on, and then a good slate of games tomorrow night, NFL and college football. But that's all the time we have today. I want to thank Olin Buchanan, David Cohn, and John Goen for joining our show. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.
Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch has an offer you can't refuse. They will pay you to do business with them if you want luxury. And I'm talking the Genesis G70 car. If you would love to have that kind of new technology, they will give you a $1,000 rebate when you finance with Genesis Motor Finance.